Oh, here you go. Go. Good?
That's a big fish.
Full hand on tail. Yeah, looks sick. Good deal.
Look how broad that thing is.
I wonder if that was the one that pulled me in.
Beautiful.
Oh my.
That's a big
That's a
fish.
big fish, dude. Limp. That's what I've been waiting for all day.
That's over 6.
Felt that bite.
Damn, I think low and slow is the way to go, eh, baby?
First big of the year on.
The thing I'm about to tie on.
Get him, get him.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Calm down. Come here, come here, come here, come here, come here, come here.
Yeah, dude!
Dude.
Pound 11 ounces.
Oh my god, please get the net. Please, 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 please get the net.
I got you, buddy. Oh my god.
I got you. That was the weirdest bite ever.
Oop.
That was a good one? Yep.
Sure, feels like it.
Sure is.
I can't turn their head, bud. Holy sh! What the? Is that another 6?
Could be.
The second giant of the day, proving that point. Oh my god! Oh my god! Yes! Big baits, big fish. There we go. 5 pounds, 6 ounces. Beauty! Just rough. Got him. Get in here, you. There's another 6. You. That's a big fish.
6'10". Woo-hoo-hoo. Little fatty.
Oh my god. If I can land this fish. Holy sh! 5.06. She's sick. Oh my god. Oh my god. Holy sh! God. What a beast. Dude, that's it. That's it. I'm 4 pounds smaller. I need a picture. Sorry.
Oh wow. That might be a 4. That might be a 4.
Yeah, it's a 4. You gonna show that off too? 4 pounds, 12 ounces. Holy. Trailers, what's getting it done? Yeah?
Yeah.
Dude, that's unbelievable. That's a 4.
He's still swimming.
There we go. That's a big fish. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yes! 414 though. Gee. Not too shabby. Add to stream, remove. How's everybody doing on this fine Wednesday evening?
What's up,
Good evening,
everyone?
good
How
evening.
you doing?
Roll call in the chat because I haven't done that in a while. Gordy, Z20, Donk Swampy, Dave, Kevin, Anthony, Possessed a Fish. Hey, bud. Nightcrawlers like that. Kyle, MD, Mike, Michael, Dave, Scott,
bunch of people
Scott
up in there.
4Zs, JP, Dave, David, MD, everybody. All right, it's going to be a good night. We're here to talk night fishing with some very, very reputable night anglers. That's putting it lightly. But before we get into it, there's a couple things. First off, for anybody that did share the stream before we got started, thank you very much. 2, as always, quick sound check, make sure it doesn't sound stupid. We've got a couple of fans going, and I want to make sure that you're hearing this and not the camera. So let me know if you hear anything that sounds stupid. And then beyond that, for those that didn't drop a like on the stream, if you could do so, please. Greatly appreciate that. Helps more than you know. I think we're going to bypass the weekend fishing
So
report.
far away.
I know, you're all, hi. Weekend fishing report, for at least from us, was stacked on beds, not really what we wanted to do. I did catch a smallmouth on a depths 250 off a bed, and that made me very happy. I really did. It took 3 tries.
It was cool.
I got it. So she was like 5 feet down. I threw it a foot past the bed. I got her foot off the bottom. I just glided it in.
Yeah.
And she turned on it, and she followed it literally right up to like the boat. She came
Yeah,
right
yeah.
to the surface and turned inches from the boat. I'm like, huh. So I pitched it back in a second time. And she came, it was like halfway down. She came up and slapped it, and I missed. Third time, it only got a foot down. She came right up and grabbed that rear treble. Perfect. I was like, okay,
Well,
this
that's perfect.
is awesome.
I've done it once with a gantrel.
Have you really?
Yeah, I've done it with a gantrel. That's a fun bite when you get them with a swim bait, but bed fishing.
Yeah, it's, yeah. Yeah, I figured it was-
Sometimes you just gotta go bed fishing, and sometimes you leave them alone.
how long do you think we fished trying to avoid beds. Like you and I were casting like all over the place before we finally gave up. Like,
I saw a
okay.
bed and I turned 180 and cast the other way.
Yeah, I think we went like
Almost
3
the entire
hours
day.
before we were like, okay, I guess this is it.
We have a few anglers
I think
in
I
our
got
club.
one on a bed, maybe 2.
I think actually 2 or 3. But I mean, primarily we brought a subscriber and his friend, and she kind of fished but hasn't really done it much. So, like, he reached out. He's like, I just want to take her somewhere she can just lay into him. I was like, well, let's just wait for the spawn then. We'll take her bed fishing. And we set her up. We brought the flogger out. We got her one off a
You
deep
had her
one.
flogging?
Really?
Yeah, dude, it was
Did you
great.
really? Do you have pictures of that?
I was
No, I wish we
staring
did.
down
I'm
that
making a
thing
video,
all day.
so.
Is
You
it
guys know
really
what
like-
flogging is, right?
Yes.
It's great. Flogging is.
I love
is-
watching the pros do it.
Yeah, watching the pros do
Yeah.
it. It's always funny. I kind of wish they would put like a
Can't
GoPro
really
in the
see,
flogger somehow so we could like see what they're doing. Yeah, there's
Oh,
a flog.
yeah.
There's flogging right there. It's
That's
yeah.
pretty cool.
It's-
Looks
Oh
right.
yeah.
Like that.
That's great. That's great. That's how you sight fish when it's like I can't sight fish right now. Well, you can if you have one of those a little
when
bit.
it's windy and you get right over top of it and just look straight down on top.
I've
Or
I
like
wanted
have
they're
one of those
20
at the
feet
swamps
down.
by
Yeah,
my
yeah.
house in 3 feet of water and mud. Just
You ever seen a kayak angle using one?
No.
I don't think I imagine that.
You remember those things they used to sell as kids?
should
You could
bring
look
one to the
over
next
fences and
tournament.
stuff. It's got it,
Yeah,
You
dude,
could
those
probably
like
do that
plastic
with-
telescope things where it's like 2 prisms, and,
yeah.
like 2
You
mirrors
could
and 45s
probably
in
do
the
that
elbows.
for a kayak. If you like seal the whole thing,
It's like Dr. Seuss or something.
you just have out the side and you're just like
That's great.
They're like using it to look at all the angles, and all of a sudden they're just like shunk, and dunk it in the water. What's down there?
you could probably use it bed fishing like. Since like in tournaments you can't use ladders or anything, you just have that looking way up and over,
Oh shit! Actually, that's a really good point.
That's
make it like
hilarious.
10 feet tall.
That's absolutely hilarious.
All right. Well, brief. I don't know. Anyway, brief introduction's done. So the whole point of tonight's topic is to cover night fishing, all sorts of tactics and stuff. I mean, it's something I've done for a very long time, but like when I had my John boat back in the day, most of high school, all through college, like that's what I did primarily, just because I hated being around people and I wanted to be out at night where there was no one around.
that's pretty accurate.
And I had a lot of good luck even when I didn't know anything, but it was that was like that turning point where I first started learning new things, and jig and crankbait was the first thing I picked up, and I did really well with that at night. And something we've always done, not so much. Probably the last 3 years, it's really kind of taken a back seat for a whole number of reasons, but we still do it like, I don't know, what, 2 or 3 times a year we get out there?
Yeah.
It makes sense for you to not.
I
It
just
kinda
I'm
makes
busy
sense.
as hell.
Yeah, yeah.
If I go out really, really late at night, like it screws up my whole week. So-
We've gotten adjusted to it now, and we
you
you know,
could say adjusted lightly.
So that's the plan. We're going to talk everything night fishing tactics, and we are joined by our friends Chris and Derek. Chris of Mr. Tightlines, who makes his own swim baits, and then Derek, who kayak angler, and well, not only kayak angler, but also big bass boat tournament guy, but has had phenomenal success the last couple of years, just specifically doing some night fishing, including
exclusively using MTL baits. Actually,
That's
Yeah,
right.
that's it.
exclusively. This guy has fished my baits more than anyone out. No offense to anyone out there that might be watching this right now. Everyone pretty much knows this guy he just lights out and uses them, and I couldn't thank him enough. Honestly, he puts them to work and proves them in and out all the time.
There you go. So before we dive into it in full, why don't you guys go ahead and introduce yourselves? Chris, if you start, and then hand it off to Derek when you're done. You just talk a little bit about yourself, your history, kind of getting to where you are at today, talk about your company a little bit, and then Derek can kind of introduce himself too.
All right. What's up, guys? I'm Mr. Tightlines. A lot of you guys know me from, YouTube, just kind of fishing and showing my journeys along the way. I started that because fishing really took over my life like 7 years ago. I can't even remember now. Bass fishing literally means everything to me. And I know a lot of people say that, and it helps a lot of people. I know it's probably helped you, and it's probably helped you, and it's definitely helped you. And it means a lot to me. So I figured, I'd just start recording my adventures and just putting them out there, mostly for my own, like, kind of home video. I'm 40-something years old now, and home videos was kind of a thing, and I kind of like home videos, so I figured YouTube was a great place to collect my home videos and then, just put them up for me to kind of watch later and share with my friends and maybe anybody that wanted to watch, and it became a thing. That's that for that. I started picking up big baits, I think in 2017, 2018. I can't remember when. Started picking them up. I got a Spro BBZ rat, Absolutely. It usually starts a lot of people. Is that Spro 50? The size 50 is the one. And I was hooked. I was hooked right from that moment. I was like, this is great. This is awesome. I had Huddleston, and I'm like, swim baits are really, really, really fun. Let's see what we can do with this. And I just started, catching fish. And Todd Grubbs, actually, he got me into night fishing. Shout out to Todd. He pulled me out there. He's like, you've got to try this. I'm like, all right, I'll give it a try. And this is before I made my own baits. And I tried it, and there's something incredible about night fishing. I'll get more into that in a minute, but just more about me would be, I would say I started to really like wooden baits, and I liked them to the point where I was like, I wonder if I could make one. And I'd never really messed with like any types of tools or anything.
Yeah.
So I was like, let's give it a shot. Let's see what happens. Because I was using an MS Slammer, a 9-inch MS Slammer, and I absolutely love the thing. And COVID hit, 2020 COVID hit, right? So you all have to stay home. No matter what, you got to stay home. And that was my moment where I was like, all right, let's do it. Let's go actually try this thing where we're going to, cut into a piece of wood. Hopefully not cut my dang thumb or finger off in the mix, because, it's just, I've never really messed with those types of things. And I started with a rat. I think we all start with like something like that. And went from there and just started having a real good time with wooden baits and catching on my own bait. That was a pretty awesome experience to actually take like a 2x4 or something or a piece of poplar and just shape it into something that actually catches fish. That in itself is phenomenal. That is just such a fun thing.
I can only imagine, because as someone who has dabbled in trying to make a wooden bait literally one time, I was like, this is something I'd love to do when I have more time, because holy shit, that is a process. You don't really understand just how much goes into it until you actually start carving wood yourself, and it's like, oh yeah, no, this is I did not think it was going to be easy. I didn't expect it to be that goddamn hard.
Yeah, there's crazy. You got hydrodynamics. You got ballasting to do with lead or whatever your weight happens to be. You have all kinds of shaping, and you have joints. You have the angles of the joints. You have what you're using to connect your joints, the lip angle, the depth, the shape of the lip. I mean, there's so many factors that come into play, and usually you fail like a lot. And I was
Like
the guy.
everything.
Well, I was the guy. I did some like psycho research, like marling baits, solifar baits.
I watch him all the time.
Engineered angler, and forum reading. I'm ADHD. You guys probably all know that already, and that's But when I love something, I hyper focus, and so I would psycho learn, and I did this for like a year until I actually got up the gumption to be like, let's try to not cut our finger off and let's give this a shot. So after about a year watching videos and stuff, I was like, all right, let's try it. And here we are, and now I had people starting to hit me up like, hey, can I get some? And I'm like, well, I don't know if they're going to work or not, but we can try together. And I made some. I think a first 20 batch of rats, and I think I sold them for like $50 each.
Yeah.
Just to get them out there.
Nice.
And I was addicted from there. Not in the sales, but because I make the money once. I'm not a very fortunate guy. The money comes and goes. It's gone. It's into bills. It's not about the money. Once the money's made, I want these people to fish these baits. Every catch I get, every time somebody tells me they got a 5-pounder or whatever, this dude broke his PB I don't know how many times, right? And caught multiple 7s on my bait. And that is my payment. Forget the money. The money is gone. It's been gone for a long time, And with my baits, I decided, especially being wood, I'm like, I can kind of put not really a lifetime guarantee, but you still have the bait and you smash the nose, I'll fix it. You mess up the hinge, I'll fix it. So
yeah,
I can fix them for a while. So it's kind of fun, doing that. And this guy right here, Derek, has fished the heck out of them.
Yeah. Say that lightly, yeah.
Yep. It's been a roller coaster of fun. That's for sure.
Yeah.
That's for sure. You've
Nice,
been putting the work in, huh?
Yeah, I'm still tired
I'm still tired.
from last night.
Go ahead, Derek. Introduce yourself as well. Be your little bit of your fishing experiences, and especially your night fishing endeavors, particularly over the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Just a couple of 7s in that
hi,
story.
everybody. Derek. Pretty much short and sweet. Grown up fishing all my life. Regular conventional fishing, nonstop, and to be honest, I started getting kind of bored of it. It's catching plenty of bass during the day, and I was looking for something else, and I saw this name Chris Ellis pop up somehow, somewhere. I really don't.
Jacob.
Was it Jacob?
I think Jacob Zenk, he's Polish. I could never say his name. Jacob Z, Bass Fishing, Bass Assassin NH. That's him.
Yes.
He introduced us. Yeah.
And so I reached out to Chris about his rats.
Yeah, that's what started
And
the rats.
I asked how much it was. And I'm pretty sure he said it was $85. And just like everybody else who first wants to get into the swim bait world, I was like, is that $8.50? And I told him he was crazy. And he's like, and then he explained it to me. He's like, I make these and the hours. And so I thought about it for a couple days and told him, all right, I'll buy one. And so we agreed, I paid, went out and got my swim bait set up. And
I saw it already pinned.
it started there. I approached it with the mindset of go out to a place where I'm going to get bit. And I know for a fact that I'm going to get bit on these swim baits to get my confidence
Build that
up.
confidence, yeah.
And at that point, I had a GoPro. Remember my little
I
tiny
remember your little tin boat. You would send me videos, and I was so pumped up.
Yeah, the first time I brought out a rat, I went to a very high confidence pond on a perfect weather day, and I knew I was gonna get bit, and instantly I fell in love. I was like, okay, I can do this heavy bait thing.
Yeah, when swim baits get
Yeah.
you, they get you.
Oh, man.
Right, Andy?
It's
yeah, they get you, they get you.
And so I went from there. I think the first good year and a half, I didn't do any night fishing. I went from a rat, then I bought a crawler. And that spring, I told Chris it's too heavy.
You weren't
can't-
fishing the dang
I
thing.
can't throw it. It was in,
I'm like, please, fish it. I'd already
it
found
was
out at
in
that
like
point.
mid-April. And I was like, I went out and I told him, I'm fishing the
Mid-April.
crawler
Oh, shit.
today.
Yeah.
And I went out, again, perfect
never
weather
forget this day.
conditions. Started catching fish right away, and I knew that it was going to be a good day on the crawler. My confidence was high. Later that day, I think the wind picked up and kind of pushed me around, ruined the topwater bite. And later that day, it calmed back down. I went right back to that spot and threw it out there. And I got to see the wake of a 7.4 come
Oh,
at
you saw the wake?
Yeah, come at my
Oh my
bait.
God, I didn't
God, I didn't know that either.
I didn't even know that.
Because I was only in 2 feet of water, maybe.
I had one do that to me last year, too.
And that thing landed, I mean, the bait was probably 4 or 5 feet away from the bush, and the bush shook. Came right at the bait. The thing with the crawler is it's not like a frog where you can just twitch it, entice that bass to eat. So I had a decision to make. Let it sit or just pop it and start crawling and see what happens. So I popped it. It crawled twice, and the lightest, quietest little slurp.
And dang,
Happened.
April,
Yep.
those April hits. They just
Yep. And I set the hook, and I was like, okay, I got a good fish. It was my first big fish on a crawler. And it didn't fight because the water was freezing. So I wasn't freaking out until I got view of it next to the boat, and I went, holy crap, there's my 7. I don't have a net. I'm in an aluminum boat that's leaking.
big trebles. These
I have
trebles are giant.
I have giant troubles. Then the question comes along of, do I try to boat flip this thing, or do you shove your hand
Andrew
down,
doesn't question. He just does.
down its throat, and hopefully I don't get hooks? And that's what I went through. And I got a hold of it, put it in the boat, weighed it twice, 3 times. I was like, that is 7 pounds, 4 ounces. And then I was like, I got to get in touch with Chris.
It was still light out.
It was the
I
middle
know
of
this
the
is
day.
a night fishing type of little episode thing, but
Yeah.
that was a daytime bite, and I had been criticized in the past from everybody has haters, and that don't catch you can catch anything at night and all that, and we've definitely caught a bunch of bass during
Yeah.
the day now, and that one was
Yeah, and I got in touch with Chris, and the rest is history. And then I think last year, mid-year, I really started getting into night. I was obsessed with night fishing.
It's
Anybody who
it's fun.
wants to get into it, it's nerve-wracking at first.
I have some details.
You get scared. You're jumpy. But once you settle down, it is extreme.
You really nailed it. The nerves are. I'm gonna go like over a whole like set of things in a minute, but that's one of the things you nailed. It is a lot of people when they first start, they're intimidated, and one of the best things I can tell you is you're in the safest spot you can be. You're on the water.
Yeah.
Whatever's out there in the woods is not gonna come get you.
You hope.
Oh,
It's not gonna. I mean, an owl might dive your bait. Or
I've
or
had
something.
that happen one time.
I've had all kinds of
Hit in
stuff,
the face
but
by a
there's
bat.
no killers or anything. There's nothing. It's really I put myself in some serious crazy situations, and it actually panned out very comfortably. So, but that first thing, you have no choice but to feel that impending doom almost if you don't have
yeah.
you don't have that whole feeling.
seen
Yeah.
weird stuff
Broke
in
in.
the sky.
We're seeing some weird things at night. You know, it's when I
some
first got
crazy
started, I never even considered anything of concern
bats.
when I was fishing at night. It was the
really.
bugs. And then at one point, I remember walking back up to my truck, and I heard something in the bushes right by my truck. And I just didn't think anything. I figured like raccoon or something, so I just went about my business. But then I got thinking about it. I was like, you know what would really suck?
That was a bear.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't even consider a bear. No,
Coyote.
a skunk.
Oh,
Like, how much would that suck if you got done night fishing and you stepped out and a skunk
or
just
if you got
rounds the corner?
skunked and
Like-
then you were getting.
You get skunked, double skunked.
dude.
Like, if it's like sitting by your truck tire and you step there and all of a sudden you just get blasted by it,
like
like,
Pepe Le
that would ruin
FU.
everything.
Then you go
just suck.
back out fishing because you don't want your truck to stink.
Yeah, I just get in the lake and start baiting.
Yeah.
Just hope for the best.
Call a
my
tow
wife.
truck.
We have a
But,
ton. We have a ton of like.
oh, yeah,
things
there's
to
a
answer.
bunch of
We'll have
questions.
to go over a bunch of those.
Was it so? Last year we saw you out in the water, like late
Yeah.
evening.
yeah,
So
yeah.
that lake, was it you that was with me? We were out there. We heard the coyotes going off. That was like
He
3
was
years
out there
ago.
with you when I saw you.
Yeah, but it was,
Yeah,
it was
the
like 2 or 3
coyotes
years
went off
before
and it
that.
was
Coy-
like-
I got that
Dude,
last
it was
night.
really.
Oh yeah, I was out
Yeah,
last night, and
usually.
I always on that body of water. Every single time I've been on it,
Yep.
it's coyotes.
Are
have
they
a couple.
close when you hear them too?
Yeah.
Close-ish. I've had one body of water where I was 20 feet away from a pack of coyotes. You turn on your headlight, and all I
can see
saw
his
was
eyes.
eyes.
Yeah.
And then I
They're
kind of
nuts.
just shut it off and was like, nah, that's what nightmares are made of. I was like, I don't know what that was.
Turn around and go the other way.
But
Yeah,
they ain't gonna
I don't
get
wanna
you.
do
They're not
this.
gonna get you.
I know.
But it's intimidating. That's
Me and
for
Nate
sure.
were out on a small pond one night, and it was midnight, 1 o'clock, and we heard this loud, low howl, and we're just like,
We're staying in the boat. a
I
little
don't. I
longer.
think we're gonna stay on the boat for a
Go
little
to
bit
the
longer.
middle of the lake.
Yeah, yeah. No, I've delayed my landing a few times
Like
for
that
various
was
reasons.
that was the eeriest, like loudest, like lowest howl I've ever heard in my life. I was like, I don't know what that was. I think that was a wolf. I'm not 100% sure, but
Oh,
I think
no.
it was.
Bigfoot.
There
Yeah.
was one
Yeah.
night at that
Maybe.
same pond.
Yeah.
I got started late. This is 3 years ago, I think, maybe 4 years ago. I got a late start, so I was getting there like right at dark, and like not even 200 feet from the ramp. Big black bear ran across the road towards the water's edge, and then like I think it just stayed in the bushes. And I was like, "Oh, cool bear!" I never get to see bear. And I pull up to the ramp and I go up my door. I'm like, "Well, that's fucking dumb." And I just shut the door. I'm just gonna wait here a minute.
Nah, he's so much scared. He's so much more scared of you. But
I
I
it's
think the
still
worst
intimidating.
part about night fishing is mosquitoes and then getting the false
So,
hits when you
Yeah.
when the
I've-
bats
We saw a
go
good
we,
off.
comment
have a
about
whole
that.
bunch of
I'm going on the
questions
line.
to answer here, and
Yeah.
It was-
the mosquitoes part I actually kind of solved last year a bit.
Yeah, we kind of did too.
Yeah,
Probably the same thing.
I guarantee it.
Thermosol.
So,
Thermostat. I was gonna say
Yep.
on 3. Say it.
so the question
I
from
don't have one yet. I guess I'll have to get one.
You'll have to.
Oh,
yeah.
So the question from Anthony was: night fishing is a good time if you're wearing a metal suit of armor to go into battle against the mosquitoes. How do you guys stave off those efforts?
All right, so I don't know when I should go over my like main list of like I have like this list of stuff I would say about night fishing, but I'll just touch base on one of these things. I never run with my white light on unless I'm finding what I'm casting to, because those mosquitoes are very attracted to white light. Very attracted. You keep your white
yeah.
light off unless you're trying to find where you're casting to or you're about ready to land a fish.
Yep.
Besides that, the white light stays off. Any light stays off. But the thermocell is a wonderful deterrent. I thought it was just like, snake oil. I
Yeah.
thought it was like one of those snake oil things, like, this thing's going to create a barrier. And, there's only one thing I have to say about it is you just got to keep up on the pack. The refills last about 3, maybe 4 hours, and the propane will get you, like 3 or 4 packs worth, so hours worth, right? You buy the replacement packs with the blue little things that you slide on the top, and then it's just a little burner thing that burns this like scent, and it works really good. It keeps them right at bay until that white light comes
Yeah,
on.
we
but-
put it. We put it. You
bass
had it
and the
right on the
mosquito.
front deck, and I was getting demolished
Oh,
in
yeah.
the back. And
It's
then,
incredible.
I had nothing on me.
So then I move it to like just almost on the back deck, and then he starts getting bit. So when we put it right in the center of the boat, and it was perfect.
It was perfect. It's like a little mini smokeless citronella candle
Yeah.
on steroids.
Yeah.
And it's great. It really is friggin' phenomenal. Like you said, though, I mean, if the wind kicks up, it doesn't do anything.
Yeah,
but then
yeah,
again, the wind's going to keep the bugs off you anyway.
Yeah,
so
it's win-win.
The thing
Win-win.
is
Win-win,
totally worth the
yes.
money.
It's totally worth it. They're like 20, 25. It depends on the one you get. There's like all different types of models. Mine's like a cylinder kind of one. I see the ones that are like lay out flat. I don't know.
Yeah,
They all work.
mine's that weird
Invest.
little.
I'll send you a link.
I
It's worth
had,
it.
I mean, usually I'm just bathed in off.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
literally.
and that's not fun. You
which-
feel that chemical on your
which-
skin just going.
Yeah,
Which-
we do. We've sprayed
My-
like cans and cans
Yeah.
and cans on ourselves. Like it's
Yeah.
not good
It
for
doesn't
you.
feel the greatest. You get it in your mouth, and you're like,
Yep.
and that
And you start
thermocell
sweating.
is
It gets in
crazy.
your
Oh,
eyes.
my
Yeah.
God. Nothing's worse, though. Like, most of our night fishing trips, we'll go out like 5 o'clock. And usually
Humans
middle
are
of summer when it's gorgeous out and it's hotter than
Humid.
hell and
You
humid.
gotta layer up because of bugs, and
Right.
then you sweat the off, in
Well-
your eyes, mouth, ears.
But I'll go out in like this, my sun shirt and shorts,
Yep.
and I will sweat my ass off. And then bugs start coming out. It's dead calm, no wind. I'm like, all right, bug spray time. But I've already been hot and sweating. So as soon as I, like,
just
pores
runs
are
off.
wide open, as soon as I sprayed on myself, it's like,
Sting.
it all burns.
This really
The burn
sucks.
is good. That means the bugs are not going to be on me. Yeah, for
Sweating this
10
for a
minutes
week.
until it like you have to reapply too. It's like, oh, it's so annoying. I'd rather just replace that cartridge a few times. and-
I've messaged him and said, I'm leaving the water. And he's like, why? I was like, because I forgot bug spray and I cannot mentally
No, yeah, you
handle
can't.
this. Like, I've had them coated.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
And I've done it so many times, and I'm going to the very bottom of the chat really quick, but Gordy 603 Wild, that DEET will ruin tackle. It will ruin
Yes.
a lot of things, like
Lots of plastic.
The plastic cover in between.
GoPros.
Yep, huge on
Sorry to
GoPros.
interrupt.
No, you're good.
Yeah.
Windshield on your boat.
Windshield on the boat.
Yeah,
that
that's
plastic
the
step.
plastic like nothing.
Oh, my God,
I always
dude.
take everything off, like my GoPro off whenever I'm doing that, and I try and like kind of keep it to the side because yeah, he's right. It's bad stuff. Thermocell, get the Thermocell. It's worth it.
Worth its weight in gold. I just got mine from Lowe's, so it's not like it's hard to find.
Yeah, no, they're everywhere. Walmart, Home Depot, everywhere.
You can get a sweet
Amazon.
high off DEET. It's an acquired huff though.
It's an acquired huff, though. Was that a comment or did you say that?
No, I was down there from Anthony. So that's live on the right. I'm scrolling
All
through
right,
to try and
live
pick
on
up
the right.
comments. Before we answer JP's question, though, I mean, we're going to be talking a lot about big swim baits and stuff
I got all
tonight,
night.
too. So one of the things to keep in mind as we're talking about these swim baits, I'm sure it's going to be something that most of you will start looking into a lot more if you're not already looking into it deeply. Don't forget that every year in New England, we have the Northeast Swim Bait Expo. Andrew and I attended it. We worked it for our two sponsors, Defiant Fishing and Big Bass Dreams. And it was an awesome experience. So, I mean, that's going to be happening every year moving forward. It was March the first year. It was April this last year. It's probably going to be April again. April the first year, March this year. It'll probably be in March again because the timing of that was, like, perfect. So for anybody that's interested that would like that opportunity to go see like a ton of stuff from a whole wide variety of people, like Chris that are kind of smaller batch stuff,
Yep.
and then you
Up
got
to the
guys
bigger
like
guys.
MGC Fishing that have a lot of stuff that's like more mass produced. Like it's the whole freaking range, and it's a hell of an experience.
It's
So
really good.
Northeast Swim Bait Expo, just keep it in mind for 2024. Guaranteed you'll see at least half of us there, maybe all four of us.
Bring a lot of money.
Bring a lot.
I get asked in every time, and,
And
I'm
not like
I'm so
$100.
busy.
Like,
It
Always
was
asked in.
it's
Not
a
even
really cool
hundreds of
experience
dollars.
being down. It was funny because what was it? FOM Lures.
Yep.
What's his name? Joey?
No, are
No,
you talking
Vic.
about Lanciotti? Oh, okay.
No, Vic. I had no idea who he was. I remember like seeing the booth. I walked around and stuff, and there was a lull, like kind of early afternoon. And we were trading off, like just going for a walk to kind of just get up and get off our freaking feet for a little bit, or get off our butt. And I walked out to the pond, 'cause it was right there on Cedar Pond in Sturbridge, Mass, and it was at that convention center. So I walk out and I see Josh Penny, who I knew, with two other guys. I had no idea who they were, and they're just chucking baits. So I walk over and talk to Josh for a second. He's like, "Oh yeah, it's Vic. He's showing off his big rat," and he's talking to a guy who's a potential customer. And the guy's fishing it, and Vic's like, let me see it. And he throws it out. He's walking through it. As he's walking through it, all of a sudden, He catch the 3.5 pound largemouth off the bank on his freaking
I
mat right there.
saw him. I saw his post. It's you can't really sell a bait better than that, right?
No, I was standing there like just talking to them, and I saw the whole thing happen. I'm like, what the hell?
Oh, so you were there when that? I remember seeing the pictures. I'm like, there you go, Vic.
I walked over
did
to. I guarantee you, I still had the video too. Now I think about
Are
it.
they rolling these during our live feed?
Yeah,
Oh,
well, yeah.
okay.
We're
Thanks, YouTube.
math is hard.
I've never seen a.
It was a great white shark, so it's kind of cool. But it was
I've never
hitting
seen
top
an ad run during a live feed, like at the same time. You could turn that off, you know.
I probably
You
could.
greedy son of a.
Oh yeah, see, I was there.
Yeah. That's great. Bright day, wind's
just-
whipping. He's just out there to show how it works. He's like, hey, it works. This is how it works. Look, and
Yeah.
like
It was just too
hats off
funny
to Vic for
being
that one.
there
That's a
for
good
that.
one.
So
Yeah.
I digressed a little bit, but not really, because it's going to be a major point that we're going to be discussing tonight. So keep it in mind for next year. We will absolutely see you guys there. But back to the chat. JP had a really good question. How cold water temp do you guys start throwing those big crawler
Yep.
baits?
Yep. The answer for that is yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Soon as the ice is gone, and with when the water.
That's Andrew's answer for when do you throw the depths? Yes.
Well, and he's not wrong with the depths. Any time of year for a bit, there's some baits out there. Any time of year from ice out to ice in, they're going to work in a depths 250 is that, just straight up, flat out
just
that.
does.
And there's a bunch of baits that do that, you know. And as for the crawler, I like that more in cold water actually.
So I think the key to a crawler is you're forced to fish it slow.
Mine.
You do not have an option.
Yeah.
You cannot try to swim it fast. It'll over-rotate. These, you have to fish it slow.
Yes,
Of course,
mine specifically.
Everybody knows that in those cold waters, they're not going to be moving fast either.
Yep.
I'm going to guess, because I didn't have any, technology on this leaky aluminum boat when I caught that 7.4 in mid-April.
You were probably mid 40s.
I was going to say I had to be somewhere around 50 degrees.
mid 40s, low 50s. Yeah.
It was shallow water, so, I can't remember the temp but of the air, but it was probably around 50, 55 degree water temps. I've seen people catching them on crawlers, his crawlers, probably colder water, March. Of course, it's going to be slower, but
The thing with my crawler specifically, so anybody that's watching this that has a lot of crawler experience, they might be going, but this crawler and this crawler, because with a lot of crawlers, you can fish them really fast. Actually, a lot of them you can't really slow way down. There is some you can definitely slow way down, but mine, you can't fish fast. It'll helicopter on you. So you're forced to fish it anywhere of ultra slow upwards of like a medium retrieve. And especially in the colder water, you want it to go as slow as you can anyways. Add some pauses in there. Definitely add some pauses. That's when I had a time sometime in April and I used Biddy Bruce. This is my smaller version of Bruce Gillis, the
I like
two-piece.
everybody wants it.
Tons of people want it. It's the one and only at the moment. And the way I would do good is I caught a 5 pound, 2 ounce. The water temps were 47 degrees. Over by my house, over near in the lakes region, kind of. And I'd cast it out there and I'd let it sit for like 4 or 5 seconds, let the ripples totally dissipate. That's especially the colder the water, the more you want to do that. Because they're not really reaction striking like they do when it warms up, per se. So let it ripple out, and then as slow as I could stomach it, retrieve, and then a super, super pause, like 2 to 5 seconds. And I would mix it up between 2 seconds and 5 seconds, and then how much I would reel it and how much I wouldn't reel it. And I would switch that up. But yeah, pauses and stuff, kind of like a jerkbait, right? You know,
Yeah.
Those pauses are important in the colder water.
In the colder water, for sure.
The bats comment, though, we have to touch that one.
I did see, Donk Swabby do the
Yeah,
best.
there's a few. The bats are terrible at night, he said.
I actually got hit
Well,
in the
they're not
head.
that bad
Like one
in the day.
flew into
Did
my
you?
head one night. Yeah, I was out fishing alone,
Dude, I
and
got
it's funny.
smacked right in the face.
This was
They don't go all around.
this was years ago. This was like 2007 or 8. No, when did we get that boat? 2007, I think. It was when my dad bought that red bass tracker, that 88 one that got flipped over on the way to Dublin. And
I saw that story.
And my wife and I were out the weekend before, and she hates bats. And we were fishing, and she's like, you know, she's got her hoodie on. She's like, I'm not really sure how I feel about this. And I look back at her to say, like, it's not really that bad. Just in time to see a bat fly between us. But really close to her, and she's like, her eyes went wide, and she just, like, pulled her hoodie tighter. She's like, I'm going to lie down now. And she did. So I went out it was either the next night or the next weekend. I went out alone. It was right about that same time, and I'm, like, thinking to myself, like, it's really not that bad. And all of a sudden, right in the side of the head. I'm like, what the fuck was that?
And
It was like a little cotton ball smacking the side.
they're only hitting you because they're idiots. They're translocating, they're sonar locating, and it's just like, and they just hit you on it. They're not after you, but it's annoying, right?
Oh, yeah.
So the biggest thing for me with bats, and some of these people might be saying something similar to it, is they will hit your line.
Yes.
Like,
Oh, my God, over and over.
reeling.
Because some of the bites you get at night, you don't
do you
hear
know how
them.
many times I had to go out and finally realize that I wasn't getting bites?
you were just.
I was like, what? Oh, man, I had a hit, so I'd stop the bait.
I can imagine that phone call to Chris. Dude, I was getting bit so many times, but I couldn't hook up on anything. What did I do wrong?
The bat's echolocation must just be going nuts with that line, just like,
Oh, yeah.
like
Oh,
what's
yeah.
it doing to a bat?
Yep.
You get hit by it, like, I don't know, some of the bites you get at night from those bigger fish, you don't hear it.
don't
You don't
hear
really,
them.
you just kind of feel
No.
just a tap and then a
I had
tug.
one last
Yeah.
fall where I casted next to a stump. And, you know, like Chris said, click on your light. You see what you're casting at. Then you shut it off.
Yeah,
Yep.
and you kind of get a burned image
Yep.
almost
Oh, yeah,
of what you
absolutely.
saw.
I
Cast to what you
knew
remember.
that
Yeah,
I
burnt images
was
everywhere.
super, super close to that stump before I started crawling the crawler.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, I might hook it. That's what I said in my brain. I crawled it a couple of cranks and I just felt it stop. So I thought,
You're on
shit,
stump.
I caught the edge of that stump. So I kind of went to pull my kayak towards it. And I realized that where the stump was, my line was over there.
Oh, God.
And I was like, oh my
Oh,
God,
just kidding.
I have a bass. And yeah, I think that one was mid-fives. But yeah, that was the start of my night.
That's awesome.
That's great.
So I did see one from Freedom Fishing. We'll answer this a little differently because this is a good one for all four of us. And we'll start with Andrew and work our way down across the table. But Freedom Fishing did ask, favorite color other than black for a bait when night fishing? Andrew first.
I don't know what to call it, but the gay pride rat.
Oh, yes.
Pride rat? What is it? Just lots of color? Is that
Yeah,
what
it's
it
the,
Yeah, it's
the BBZ 50, the purple morning dawn color.
Oh, the morning dawn.
Yeah.
Yeah, is that what it's called?
Yeah, it has purple with like a blue. I actually did I don't have one with me. I did a paint like it, and I call it Electro Blurple, but I based it off of the colors that
Dude,
are in
it's-
Morning
it-
Dawn.
Every time I throw that, I bounce back. I have three of them. I have that color, I have the brown one, and I have the black one.
Yeah, yeah.
The
And they
black
all
one
have
I
the
got
right
bit
tones.
least on.
Dark. So, Brad, well, your answer and your that's part of mine. So I'll let you finish your answer.
I get bit less on darker colors at night for some reason. I don't know why. I still fish them all the same. No idea.
I think it has a lot to do with the moon or something. I don't know, but
I think it's
don't
just the
like
movement. Maybe I
color
just have more
clarity.
confidence with the purple one that when I throw it, I just am moving it just slightly different, working it just slightly different. Maybe.
Yep.
Derek?
So for me, to be honest, Chris likes this one. I don't care what color it is. It's night. In my opinion, they're hitting noise
Yep.
and vibrations.
Yeah.
They're not stopping and going, oh, wow, that looks like a sunfish. Like, it's either reaction strikes and stuff like that
night.
because
So
at
it's
night,
night.
yes,
Yep.
it's not
daytime
really visual.
could be completely different. You know, your natural patterns at daytime would make probably a big difference.
Yeah.
But
I-
at nighttime,
Yeah.
I don't
time.
care if Chris painted his craziest, wildest, extreme
It's what
pattern.
people usually like too.
Yes, that's what sells them is paint jobs.
Yeah,
But
you're not
for
wrong.
me,
To an extent.
at night,
To an extent.
I don't
To
care.
an extent.
Paint it like an egg. I don't care. I'll still fish it.
So I'll slide into my answer similar to his is I don't really care. I mean, if you look at this, I don't know if that's really showing up much. It kind of is. This thing is destroyed. It's missing an eye on one side. It has been filled back in and sanded back down umpteen times. The bill, can you even see the logo in there anymore?
No.
I mean, this,
You can
this
see,
bait
like,
has seen
the dorsal fin, that's
so
it.
many 5-6 pounders. Jacob used this in his first 5 casts and got a 6-pound 3-ounce. We
Damn.
were on Webster.
Nice.
We're on Webster. He was 5 casts in on this exact bait right here. So I basically don't care for the most part. If I were to throw care in, it would be a whole combination of how dark is the bottom. Like some places have a brackish, straight black bottom, and maybe clear water. Like you can see really far down, but the bottom's black. Like North River's like that.
Yep.
I don't know if you know North River or any of that. It's a smaller spot.
No, but I know
it's
exactly
like
what
that.
you're talking
Same
about.
idea. You know,
Yeah.
there's a lot of water sources like this. Water sources that are like super tea stained. You know, and I guess I go with him, and I say it's mostly at night, the vibration and such. Yeah, I don't really care about the color. I don't really care
I
about
think
the
it's just
color.
personal preference, really.
Yes.
It really is. Whatever
Yes.
puts confidence into your bait, right?
Right.
Honestly, there's one exception, perch, and I know I like perch a lot, but out of I don't know, probably like 100 different times I've gone night fishing, and the vast majority of that, probably 80 of those 100 trips, which generalizing, but kind of a rough estimate, has been just traditional tackle, and there's something about a perch crankbait. And I've thrown a ton of different colors, but there's something about just that perch. I think it's that little bit of orange.
Yes.
Honestly, because
That or the
it's almost
bluegill.
or
With-
bluegill,
with,
yeah.
or
What
pumpkin
about
seed, whatever.
What about the black and blue perch crankbaits that I may have gifted to you?
What?
I don't know.
Way.
I don't know what's in there.
Holy shit, guy! No,
Yeah, it's a Perchzilla. There's only 12 of them out right now.
you're joking.
No, I'm dead serious. You're welcome.
Holy shit, dude! Thank you. Oh my
welcome.
god,
Let me see,
yes.
let me see, let me see. Oh my goodness.
So I
Dude.
had
Hell yeah.
somebody back out, and I was like, I told you, it's not about the money. You're happy? You happy?
Fuck yeah, I am. Thank you.
You just paid me on the
Sick.
spot. Catch me a fish, and you're paying me. Every
I'm
time
gonna
you
catch
catch me a fish, you're paying me. You don't even have to say anything
Is
about
that
it.
a
Just
wake
show me
or
the
is
picture.
that a crank?
It's both. It's a wake and crank. I'm not exactly sure how far this batch gets down. The original got down 4 to 6 feet. Remember we had that
Yeah, yeah.
conversation, and you were pretty pumped about this.
Yep.
4
And
to
I-
6?
Yep, 4 to 6.
You gotta really crank it.
Let me
probably,
know how
right?
far you're getting this
Yeah.
down.
I can do that.
Okay.
Yep.
And but it wakes. This, like, you know how you said you had a bite on top that wake, and you saw the wake come at the fish.
Yeah.
This bait right here got me 3 of my biggest top 5 fish last year total. Similar kind of color too, by the way. But it was waking, and this just the biggest V wake I've ever seen, and it was 5 pounds 8 ounces on the dot, and yeah. That's
Matches.
the first hands to touch it.
I just saw the comment. I was like, oh, holy shit, he's right.
I'm watching you touch them with your hands and your oils, and I'm inside going, oh, because I've only ever touched it with gloves. So you're the first person
no
to touch
shit.
it with your hand.
Dude,
That's-
thank you.
it's yours now.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm fucking, dude, thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm going
He's
to.
over here.
Currently only 12 of them. Let Andy throw it every now and then, okay?
So, oh yeah. So, you know it's floats.
Yeah. Yep, floats.
Figured that
You
when you
lose
said
it,
wake.
go over.
Let me
It's
see that thing.
almost all of my baits are made out of cedar. I mean, again, I started this for me. It's not for everybody else. It's for me.
Yep.
But people are interested, so I'm like, well, it's not going to hurt anything if I make more
It almost makes
for
you not
people,
wanna
right?
scratch 'em.
Yeah.
So make more, make money. I mean, it's scratch your back. Everybody wins,
Yeah.
you know.
That
So
thing's really nice. That thing's sick.
I'm glad you like it.
Dude, I'm stoked for this.
We
You know
can
what's
take- we
funny
can
too
take
is
book
like
covers off and really
I was
etch his
talking to my
name
wife
in there.
earlier after I finally got to work. It's been a hell of a long week, but a very, very good week. I'm not complaining. And she was like, "What are your plans this weekend? It's Memorial Day." She was like, "You fishing Sunday and Monday?" I was like, "I don't know. I might go out tomorrow after work and Friday after work and maybe Saturday in the afternoon." and she looked at me. She's like, "Well, I'm off Friday." I was like, "We can go together." But if I go tomorrow, I gotta take the kids. But I was thinking about it, I was like, I really want to go out at night this weekend because I think some of the smaller ponds
Fitting.
around us might have some
You think?
potential.
You think?
I think so. But so like this is perfectly timed because I was
Yeah,
planning on going
perfect.
out that night this weekend
Good.
anyway.
good. Yeah, I make all my baits currently out of cedar. It's very buoyant. I can slam it with lead. You can't really mess up. I do things and things happen differently, and it just always works. And I really like cedar, so it's a bit of a softer wood. You know, eventually you're going to get a lot of hook rash when you do. You know, I can either teach you how to apply the filler and sand it down, or you can just constantly send it into me, depending on if you rash it up that much.
I do that. I
hope
do
you
I'm
that
gonna
do.
all
rash
the
it up
time.
real good.
Good.
I
Baking soda,
send my
super
baits
glue.
always back to him. Like,
that?
hey, dude,
Super glue and
it's
baking
screwed up.
soda.
Super glue baking soda. Super glue baking soda. People. I don't know if you know about the chemical reaction of super glue baking soda. If you don't, and you go to try it, be careful. It's very fumy. If you throw down baking soda and you even it out with something like a card or something, right? And you take the thinnest super glue you can, I get Star Bond, Ultra Thin.
Oh, I
That's
know
where
that.
I learned, right?
Yep.
And you go drop, 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 and it'll go absorb, and it'll create this right there. Feel that? Scratch that.
What?
Yeah, super glue baking soda.
No shit.
Baking soda, even it, drip, drip, drip. Done. You can do a little sanding with 220 grit.
Nice.
Sanding with 220 grit. Yeah, and you're back in action. You're all filled. Your hooks aren't grabbing anymore. You've given more life to your wooden bait.
Yep.
I mean, it doesn't, and for me, it doesn't matter what it looks like. I could repaint that because I picked up an airbrush, and apparently I can do that. I'd never airbrushed before this. Yeah, so he smacked off the lip, right? Quick fix.
Oh, I
Super glue
should have
baking
done
soda.
that with
There you
my.
go.
Super glue baking
Oh
soda.
yeah, with your. Do you have that anymore? I was gonna
Oh, you
say.
don't? Yeah.
No,
So
Yeah,
you
it
should
might
leave
be in my boat.
If
He
you
had,
did, I'll fix it if you want me to. Or if you can do it now.
the bull wake.
Yeah.
This was because that was 2020. We had because I had that like 7 straight day stretch where I was catching 1 to 2 4-pounders a night every night. By the way,
Sorry.
Vision Prod says hi. I don't know if you saw that over here.
Yes, Miles. What's up, Miles? Hi. I got a lot of people asking me, can you shout me out? You should give me a shout out.
Everyone wants to shout out.
What are you saying? Sorry.
Sorry, no. So at the Swimbait Expo, the Northeast Fishing Expo, New England Fishing Expo. There we go. In January 2020, we went. I wanted another wake because we were fishing the rats and stuff. So we got one of those bull wakes, and had a phenomenal start to our season with
Dude,
it.
it was like every time we went out, we were catching multiple 4s.
Yeah.
And it was like,
No 5s, but I'm not going to complain with a bunch of 4s.
no, all 4s and high 4s.
Yeah, but it was funny because would you
Nailed it.
have yours like
Fish.
2 months we were fishing it, and then you end up
Sorry,
slapping it
my
off a dock and broke like half the face off.
Like the whole
bad.
face is gone.
Oh, no.
Oh yeah, real
Yeah.
bad. $100 gone. MD, you always get a shout out. You get a shout out at the beginning of every show. You shush.
Go buy a house or
I'm
something.
going to drop, if you don't mind, I'm just going to drop one singular shout out real quick.
Dude, go for it, man.
Jeff Matava. He is currently and has the last couple of years been running Granite State Kayak Anglers. I made this logo. That's Brindle Pond. Random thought.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, it's Granite State Kayak Anglers. He's been bringing yak angling tournaments to a new level in New Hampshire specifically. He's added some night fishing tournament trails. This is why this is relevant. Why I'm touching base with this. Besides him being a great guy and doing a lot of awesome things with the club. One of the things he's done is he's added night fishing opportunities. You don't even have to be a club member to sign up for the night fishing. I mean, as long as you got a yak, you got the right catch board. Other various rules, you can contact me or Jeff or Derek or anybody to get involved. But night fishing through Granite State Kayak Anglers, it's New Hampshire waters only. We didn't really have another outlet for this. KBF did it for a little bit. They did night fishing tournaments, but they don't do it anymore.
I
Now
haven't
they just
seen
do.
any.
Now they just do the monthly, and seems like they're having issues. We're not going to touch base on KBF right now, but as it is, he's added that night option, so that's fun. You can pick any night. We do it every month, I believe.
No.
No?
I think there's 3, 1 per season.
Whatever,
So you got
we're
a
gonna be
spring,
doing more.
Summer and fall one.
And you can go either Friday night, Saturday night, I believe, or Sunday night, right?
Yep.
Only you have to pick one of those nights. So if it works for you, for the weather, or for the wife, or the photo, whatever. So you can pick one of those nights, and you fish that night, and it goes against every. So if there's like 15 people, some will go Friday night, some will go Saturday night. By the end of it all, whoever gets the biggest top 3, are we top 3? Top 3 wins. It's a fun thing. He's also added a thing called a Friday Frenzy. It's actually in-person night fishing in essence, trail event. It's a 10-person, permits are pulled, everything's legit.
Yep.
It's a 10-person, first 10 people to sign up. But this is, I'm only just telling you this because this is club members. You can't actually get involved with this one, unfortunately. I'm sorry. But it's the first 10 club members to sign up. And we go from 5 to 10, and it's winner take all out of those 10 kayaks.
Nice.
So that's a Friday Night Frenzy, 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. Again, sorry you can't get involved with that one, but just a shout out to Jeff for really putting his heart into Granite State Kayak Anglers for this season and last season, and I believe the last season. And I can't remember. Has it been 3 years now? 2 years?
I don't know.
I think
This is
it's-
my first real season in going in the in-person
So
one.
thanks, Jeff. Thanks. That's
Yes, and actually, speaking of the nighttime tournaments, there's one this weekend.
This
and
weekend.
The sign-ups stop on Friday, I
Yep.
believe. So
Get on
anybody
it if
out
you're
there
interested.
listening that has
Yep.
a kayak and a board,
Yeah,
we
catch
want
board.
more people.
Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah, the more the
it's-
merrier.
It's
You pick.
not,
you have
it's
to,
not getting annoying with 6, 8, 10 people, but we'd like more.
Well, you always more the merrier, right? The more I believe, the more there is, the more we pay out, more slots we pay out.
Exactly.
Too. So,
Yes.
And
Win-win.
it has to be New Hampshire waters. It has to be any public New Hampshire waters. So you can't
Go into your private.
you can't
pond.
go into your private area. Yeah,
Yeah.
it has to be somewhere I can go or he can go and you can go,
Yep.
etc.
Bunch of 14-year-old kids just drat, there goes my golf course pond.
Yeah.
There goes your golf course. Well, we're in New Hampshire. Not many golf course ponds. I don't think
That's
here.
true.
It's
You know
actually-
what's funny? During COVID, when everything was shut
Yeah.
down, we went and fished the one in Amherst.
That's awesome.
I
Dude,
forget. It just
it was
came up.
so
He was
many
like,
fish.
"We should just go." I was like,
I should have went to the nipple.
"Yeah,
Lake
screw
one.
it, let's go." So we were like, if we park down by the river, we can walk like we're going to
Across
fish the
the
river.
fairway.
We went 200 feet down and then cut through the woods and just went across and you
Walking
couldn't
down
see
the
us on
river,
the
like,
road.
psych.
So we fished the 3 ponds in there, and I didn't bring a jig. I just assumed it was going to be way too much clutter in there, and he did.
Yeah?
He crushed it.
Oh,
All I was a
no.
jackhammer. I was like, I'll just try fishing
Wasn't
a
jack
jig,
working?
and it worked.
Okay.
But he was he was catching 5 to my 1. Not even kidding. And we were like, this is fucking awesome.
This is so dumb. There's
That's
so many
awesome.
fish in here.
Freedom fishing, yes. Trolling motors, fine for the club and for any online events. Yeah.
How about Sir Altitude? Is the newest bump board used what is the newest bump board used? Is
Yeah,
it still
Catch. Carbonite is the
Dean.
cheapest one. It's a yellow board. I didn't bring a board because I didn't think I'd need to show it. Yeah, well,
I literally have
count. That doesn't count though. Those
No?
are actually outlawed. Is that what illegal? Illegal?
Yeah, you could just say.
Yeah,
illegal.
you can't use those. That's
Yeah.
the original hog trough.
I was saying,
It
that's
has
like-
to be
I've had
Catch
that for
brand.
6 years, I think.
KETCH has to be Catch brand. They make a metal board, which is giant. It's awesome. It's durable. You definitely want to tether, or you're going to lose it.
Mine's
they make
tethered.
But yeah, you want a special one. That's a whole nother story. Beating me with my own baits. Again, another story. We'll get to that. But yeah, they make the metal board. But the yellow plastic board, just like that one, but it's one that they can be sure is the exact, everything, right?
Yep. That makes sense.
That one is acceptable, and that's the one I use.
Nice. So kind of there's so many good questions here.
So
and I
many
want to
good-
make sure we leave plenty of time to bring up anything that doesn't fit any of these questions. But great DB. Wait, I saw another comment from you. Hang on. Hold it. There you go. Hey, I met you guys at the trade show a month or 2 back. You guys really helped elevate my fishing game. You're very welcome. Glad you were able to make it out. But you did have another question that I also saw, which was great. What's each of your guys' favorite lure or bait to use, like your clutch always go to? I'll start this.
You don't even know what you're going to say now, do you?
One of 2 things: jackhammer or square bill. Like if I go out night fishing, those are the first 2 things I'm going to throw. One, because it's fun as hell, and 2, it's 2 different things. My jackhammer, I can cover a ton of water fast, and it makes a hell of a lot of noise in a moderately sized profile. And then my square bill, that's for getting around structure and cover. And I will typically throw a bigger square bill and something that dives, 4 to 6 feet. And I will go and target every rock and stump and literally anything I can find, and I will crash the ever-living piss out of that bait and try and get them off deflection. Or if I know there's where we saw you at night last year, that whole giant tombstone-shaped flat. We'll just go burn the piss out of that thing with a crankbait and just cover so much
Crankbait,
water so
yeah.
fast.
Chatterbait.
Did that place
Throw
ever
the
turn
rat
back
out
on for you?
there.
Remember we had that conversation?
No, dude, it
Is it
sucks.
still dead?
It sucks.
We have a guy doing an Ironman there, though, and he's doing pretty good. An Ironman challenge in our club. Do you know what that is?
Yeah, is he the guy with the Jeep?
Yeah.
I know, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I know who you're talking about. He's
Yeah.
good.
Oh,
Dude.
yeah.
Mark.
Yeah.
That's Mark Schiffer. So, anyways, he crushes it there on the Ironman. And Ironman is a tournament in which it's 14 hours. You catch as many fish over 12 inches as you can in Granite State Kayak Anglers. Jeff brought this tournament as well, and you catch as many as you can. You add all the inches up, and
I got smoked this year.
I didn't enter this last one. I'll enter another one. But yeah, it's fun, man, because you find yourself if it's 12 inches or more, you got to put it on the board. You got to take a picture. You got to submit it to the app.
Yep.
You got to go through the whole process. You catch 50-something fish. Woo!
Yep.
That's a lot of entries.
That's awesome.
Imagine Jeff, being the tournament director, oh my God.
It's a lot to go
I know a place I can go and catch 200 freaking 1-pounders all day
Yeah,
long.
I know what place that is too. Is it Grubb's place?
No.
No? That place though, man.
Oh,
you
there
know-
too.
Yeah, you can catch 1 million over 12 inches there.
Which one? It's not down the street from where we met you.
Where the lady yells at you if you're there at the wrong time of season. Because she has a house right there.
Oh,
I'll
no,
tell you
that's a
after.
different place.
You know what I'm talking
okay.
about?
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm familiar with that one. I'm
You
sorry,
are.
After. I am?
You are.
Okay, I just
Yeah,
don't
you
remember
are.
that one. All right.
No, it's a very rocky place.
Oh, God in heaven. Yep. Okay, never mind. I understand what you're talking about. Anyway, so I hate that woman. She's such a miserable cunt.
Can't wait till she dies.
Wow.
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
At least
took a
you can
dark
edit
turn.
that out.
I'm kidding.
Not
I'm
really.
kidding.
No, it's too late. It's up there. It won't be on Spotify.
That's what I meant. That's what I meant. I know this is already shut up.
All right, so jackhammer, crankbait, honorable mention to the jig. Although if I'm night fishing, I like to cover water a little bit more efficiently. But I will always throw a jig. I'll throw a regular, skirted, big like 4-inch trailer jig, some big ass profile, and that's like if I'm in an area I got a couple of good fish, I'm gonna follow up with that. And I'm gonna pick it apart really slowly with that. But it needs to be big, so it's really easy for them to see. But that's me. Anyway, we'll go this way this time. So Chris, you're next.
Oh, all right.
I'll be right back.
I'm next. Let's see. What is each fish? Now, is this for night or is this in general, or should I go over both? Which one?
Night.
Night.
Probably just
Okay.
do it for night.
The
We're
theme
here
is
for
night,
night.
right? I'd have to say if I.
Sorry, Sir Altitude.
What happened?
That's my grandma.
That's.
Let me go fish there. I don't know what to tell you.
That's hilarious. So, excuse me. My favorite. So again, I fish only my own baits right now. I don't know if that sounds pompous, but it's just kind of is how it is.
What'd you say?
I
Sorry.
fish my own baits
Yeah,
only
that's
right
usually-
now, and
that's how
I know
people
it
do
sounds weird when I said it. I was like, oh, that sounds kind of bad. But I really only fish my own baits. It's just I get the satisfaction when I first made that rat and I got that first fish. It was 2.5 pounds. It was like 4:30 in the morning. I'll never forget that feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And that feeling lasts. I'm years into it now, and I still get that feeling like, wow, I pulled that thing out of a piece of wood. It's catching fish. Like, so
It's the coolest thing ever.
it's the coolest thing ever. So I have a walking bait, giant like spook.
That thing's cool.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, I have Biddy Bruce Gillis. Bruce Gillis. That's a fun name, right? I have my Biddy Bruce. I have my 2-piece Bruce. I have my 3-piece Bruce. I have Kersmax the frog. This is a waking crank that will sorry, not a waking crank. This is a waking frog. You cast it out and you go to walk the dog. It'll walk right in place. It'll hardly even move. And you'd think that these things would foul up a lot, right? They don't foul up a lot. You get with all swim baits, you get a form of fouling.
Oh, yeah.
No matter how good the swim bait is,
When they get stuck in the joint.
it'll there's in some way, shape, or form something's going to foul. And you would think these hooks would foul way more than they do. No, they don't. They really don't. And it's fun. You get it's got like the specific like clack thing with these legs in the water. I can't even. Someone described it like marbles.
Oh yeah.
Like
yeah.
marbles clacking. It's a different thing, right? And then you got the Mulligilla crawler, that grabs water here, grabs water there, goes over and over, makes a little metal sound. You got rats. My favorite out of everything I've done, it's really hard to pick, but I'm going to settle on the 3-piece Bruce Gillis.
You got
If
it.
I had to-
look,
if
look
I
at
had
the
to-
thing. It looks like your favorite bait.
It looks like my favorite bait. Well, they all have their own time,
It's like
right?
6 ounces of freaking.
It's almost 4.
No, I'm
like-
saying of freaking super glue and baking soda on this thing. This thing is awesome.
Yeah, man, it's got a heck of a sound. When you get the 2-piece restricts it a little more. You get a good clack, but you get a little bit more restriction. Whereas that is a little more fluid, right? So you get 3 points hitting, so you get a little more clack, but it's not quite as loud per se. But at the same time, since it's wood, it kind of is.
It kind of gives that like echoey kind of clack.
Yeah, and it has more control over any of the other baits. Like I can burn that and get 1 to 3 foot down.
Really?
Burning it. If you go normal crank, if you get it out of wake, you can get it subsurface pretty easy.
Doesn't
You start
blow out.
burning it, you get it anywhere from 1 to 3 feet. And in the summer, so I'll cast it out right against the shore or whatever, or pads or dock or whatever I'm casting next to, close. And then I'll let it sit for a second. And this is summertime, not wintertime or spring or anything like that. And then give it a second, and then just a steady retrieve. And it's like lights out. And then if it doesn't catch on that steady retrieve, right? If I don't get anything on the wake, anywhere between 1/3 of the way back to the yak or 1/2 of the way back to the yak, sometimes as far as 2/3 of the way back to the yak, I'll then crank down and pull it over a shelf or any type of other cover that might be a little deeper and get a reaction that way. But yeah, I would settle with 3-piece wake and crank.
For me, Chris, it's pretty obvious because last year and the year before, I never put down the crawler. That's all I threw was the crawler. And actually, this looks really pretty right now because
Right
Chris repainted it for me. This was the original crawler
Yeah.
that he had sold me that I caught
shit.
the 7.4 on, and it was
That's a repaint.
it looked like this. It
was
beat to hell.
snot. It was beat to snot, and it has filler, and it's been sanded many times, and that is a one-of-one
Brought
paint
back
job
to
right
life.
there.
Yeah, actually,
You
Chris
won't even
asked
fish
me.
that
See, I like that perch pattern.
Yeah,
That's
he asked
actually,
me what I
I'm
wanted it
saying that's a
painted.
nice perch pattern.
My man here has a hate for perch for some reason.
Oh, really?
I don't
Dude,
throw
New
it.
Hampshire man with perch.
I don't need it.
Yeah, and
Yeah, I was looking at that
yeah,
the whole
it's-
time I was sitting over there. I'm like, I can't
okay.
wait to get that over
it
here.
was actually last year I had bought another crawler off of from another guy who wanted to sell it, so I had jumped all over it. I was like,
We
I'm
won't
on
name
that.
and shame
Yeah,
him.
we won't name names. He might be watching.
Was
and,
that, if I had to take a guess, was
yeah.
it, we were talking, you told me about him where he sold it and then
Yep.
you end up catching that
Yeah,
giant.
yeah,
It's like, son of a bitch.
So I think it
And he's
wasn't.
gotten a couple since then.
Yeah, it wasn't 2 weeks later. I was in a night tournament and I tied on that crawler specifically just to see if I could kind of, throw salt in the wound. Well, a 7.5 ate it. So
Smashed his
the
PB.
salt just.
You
What
just
was
threw
your
a whole salt lick at him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, what was your PB on? So the Mulligilla crawler, this one before it was repainted was what 7.5,
7.4.
7.4,
Yep.
and then he got that one from the guy that wasn't using it. He broke his lower unit, I think is what it was, and he needed
now
money.
everybody knows who it is.
Everybody's broke their lower. You broke your lower unit before?
I almost did a couple
See, he's
weeks
thinking
ago, and
about
that
it.
was
A lot
my
of people
bad.
broken their lower unit. I think they're safe.
Where I caught the 610 or 611.
Yeah.
We were idling back and he hit a boulder we didn't know was there. But it was like a 4-mile-an-hour idle, so it wasn't too bad. We looked, it was just like a little scratch, but not bad. Same spot 3 years before that. First full year I had my
Yep.
skeeter. I did the same thing in that same damn pond. And then the ranger I had before that, we were fishing last tournament of the year, the 1 year I fished a whole club on Squam Lake. We're actually having a really good day. 2 hours before we weigh in, we were fishing off of Diamond Ledge, Diamond Point, whatever it is out in the middle there. And went to go get up on pad. We're in 40 feet of water. I went maybe 30 feet, and it was just like, wham! And just nothing. I'm like, put it in gear, nothing. Put it in gear, nothing. I'm like, but I think we're done.
Oh no!
Grenaded it. Like everything inside of it grenaded. There was literally no
Help.
physical damage. And the guy has asked me, he's like, did you hit something? I'm like, I don't think so. He's like, you sure you didn't hit something? And I was like, no, I didn't hit anything. Why? He's like, it looks like a bomb went off in there. I'm like, all right, oh, that's done.
Oh,
Yeah.
$2,500 later.
Yep.
The pisser of it was the warranty on the motor ran up 3 weeks before that.
Oh, I remember
No.
that.
I'm not even kidding. I pled my case to Mercury, and they
so
wouldn't
crazy
hear
how
it.
that type of thing happens, right?
Yep.
That ran. I know we're touching base, but real quick, the wood clack, the clack on wood is amazing, is what he said, and
Yep.
and it's the clack of wood versus the clack of resin.
Oh yeah.
Prototype. We'll talk about this in a little bit.
Yes.
The clack is totally different, night and day different. One is wood is warmer. It's got a warmer and a bit of a louder clack versus resin, and wood is better. Wait, did I just say that? Oh, sorry. I thought I
did.
thought it. Sorry. No, I
agree
That
with
is,
you, though.
Then why
I
do you
just
have a
pissed
resin
off
bait
like
right
a
there?
whole
Yeah,
bunch
yeah.
of people. I just pissed off so many people. Honestly, for glides, I think resin is a little better. I think you can tune a glide a lot
I
better
haven't.
with
I
resin.
don't have a wood glide.
There's not
Do
many
I?
of them because tuning resin is way easier because you'd have to shape every wooden one like precisely the same. With glides, it's very, very, very like
I want to get a wooden glide.
very in
like
depth.
that.
Well, I'm working on it.
You know what this cheeky shit said to me? I caught that fish off the bed with the depths. We were both fishing the depths. And he had taught me something that he learned and he kind of tweaked for how he was fishing it. Like, just what he's seen for results so far over the last, 2 months. So I was trying to replicate that. And he's watching me do it, and we got talking a little bit. He's like, yeah, well, I mean, mine just looks different than yours anyway. And he holds it up, and the whole thing, it's folded like this. And I picked mine up, and mine's folded like that. I'm like, why the hell is yours so different? Because it's the same generation. He's like, because I caught more fish than you. Son of a bitch.
I mean, that's literally
Stretched
from
it out.
catching fish.
That's awesome.
It stretched it
awesome.
out. Now the joint is like that. On it.
That thing's got
no
a hell of
kidding.
a droop on the
It's
tail.
crazy.
now.
I
kidding.
snap it like a jerkbait, and it's
Yep.
like
Oh, that's great though. You're chopping it.
it's crazy.
You're chopping
I can
it.
chop a 250.
Yeah.
That's insane.
That's great. That's great. Just speaking of which, you didn't finish that. I know we have a bunch more questions, but you were the last in the line. What your favorite bait at night would be?
Oh yeah.
We don't want to leave you out, buddy.
He's got to think real hard. There's a lot.
There's a lot.
I know. I can hear his brain. He's like, but I like this and I like that.
like
and I really like
chatterbait.
this.
Chatterbait, square bill.
You can't go wrong.
No,
You
it's
literally can't
so-
go wrong.
no, you're right. No, you're
It's,
good.
I always start the night off with chatterbait, then I go to the rat, and then I'll go back to the chatterbait and to a square bill, and then possibly a jig, and then
You did have good luck a couple of nights throwing the Citizen 6 too.
and a citizen.
Oh,
Fishing
yeah,
like
I've
a
caught a few
jig.
citizen fish, fishing like a jig. I watched those posts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's oh yeah, dude, I remember that night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same pond
I
you
got a
saw us
smallie
at.
on it too on the Citizen 6.
That's
Like a
right.
Tiny
That was
one.
speaking of
3 years
Smalley.
ago?
That ties
Yeah.
into a question right there. There's so many questions to answer.
I did
just
see
happened
one
to
a
see it
little
right there.
higher up.
Have you guys targeted Smallies while night fishing? If so, any pointers? My only pointer is
yeah.
do the exact same thing you're doing for largemouth.
Yeah, literally they'll,
Yep.
they'll hit
There's nothing you
all
need
the
to do
same
different.
stuff.
And they'll hit every one of these baits. I've caught Smallies the size of the bait, like quarter pound with cheese Smallies. And then I've caught 4 pound, 5 pound, Smallies. So
Yep. I did see one from.
a touch for
was it
Alex.
Jason? No.
there's so many questions.
Steve. What's the most versatile setup for these baits? Rod reel, line size, and specs.
That's
That's
subjective.
a loaded question.
That's super subjective.
I would
You
say
could-
the starting point is depends on how heavy the bait is that you're throwing.
Yeah. However, if you gotta, exactly, it depends on how heavy the bait is. Then you go from there, and then you decide which brand you want to go, how much money you have to spend. If you go mid-level, you go with like the lower end Dobbins or the Akuma Guide Select, the lower end version. If you want to go higher end, you can go with the F5 Custom. You can get a Leviathan. Like I have a Leviathan Omega Swimbait rod. It's $340, and the action on it is unreal. I didn't know what I was missing out on. Like I was like, what's the craze with all these $300-$400 rods,
Just
right?
for the casting purpose alone.
There's so many things to touch base on. Honestly, for me, it's the fightability. So versus either my Dobbins 806 Fury, which is the lower end of the swim bait rods, it's like $120, right?
Yep.
Versus that or the Akuma Guide or any of those like broomsticks, like the Savage Gear browser rod, any of those, they're like the fightability. When you got a rod that will actually fight with you, if the fish is shaking its head, you want the rod to have action to work against it. You don't want a stiff rod just like pulling it out
Yeah.
basically, or not fighting with the fish. So a lot of these lower end swim bait rods, they sacrifice
Like a
that
carrot
action.
stick?
Yeah, it's a broomstick. That's why they get the term broomstick on some of these rods, because they sacrifice their action, and that's what you pay for. You pay for the better components that go into the guides, the reel seat. All of these things add up, and it is in life. If you haven't found out by now, I mean, I'm almost 41. You get what you pay for. The rewards are tenfold if you buy the better product. It just flat out is in almost anything in life. That's just how it is.
Yeah.
So same idea with this. And I got that first Leviathan rod, and I was like, oh, this is what it could be like.
Oh, this is what nice things are.
This
So
same with the reels. You have to have a reel that'll hold. You use a regular conventional reel, you're going to wear those guts out
my
1-2
God, yeah.
nights. You have to get like a 300 size spool. Again, if you're throwing 1 ounce swim baits, we're not talking about like Kitex on jig heads or anything like that. We're talking about 2 ounce or up. If you're doing that, you got to make sure you got the right like size 300 reel
up
or
to-
even a 200.
9 ounces.
Yeah, up to that. Yeah. So then there you go. Then you got to go. Some rods are 1 to 4 ounces, right? And you don't want to break that. For me, most of my baits are near 4 ounces, anywhere between 3. So I would be on the higher end. So I picked the 2 to 8 ounce options.
Yep.
It's just that's perfect for me. A 2 to 8 ounce. I'm never gonna go bigger. I guarantee my shoulder. I'm not going over 8 ounces.
Yeah,
it's not
I don't
happening.
blame you.
And I'm not gonna go under 2. The Bruce Gillis. Another question we had is what is
What's
the
the
lightest bait I make? Currently, it's the Bitty Bruce Gillis. Comes in at 2 ounces. You can throw it on a frogging rod.
Yep, absolutely. It's
I got
funny
it.
because
I caught a 610 on this last year. Biggest fish I caught last year.
I have a DEFCON, which
That's
is
almost 4.
kind of along the same lines as overall profile as this. And it's
Only 4 ounces.
Yes, 4.1. I think. Put it on a scale later. I can't remember.
There's a scale right up there by the light switch, Andrew.
Boom. It should be 4.15, 4, maybe 420 if we're lucky.
Easy, but
I'm trying.
so it was one of the
Let's get
first
them
like
hopped in
crankdown
here.
crankbaits I got like 3 or 4 years ago. The OG DEFCON.
Yeah.
And it's about the same size as this, but skinnier, so it's like half the weight. It's like
Yep.
2 1/4 ounces.
Yeah.
I was throwing that on a 7.2 heavy fast rod, which is rated 2 an ounce.
Yeah, it was
So
fine.
and you had to be careful, but I could do it, and I caught a ton of fish on it.
Hey, perfect. Let's do some weights. I'm actually curious. It should be 4 point something. 4 point something.
4.8.
4.8. So it's 4.5 ounces.
4.5 ounces.
There you go.
There you go. So to
Check
your
the
point
boost
though
and
about like differences in rods and what you get for different values. So us being sponsored by Luz for the last 4 years prior to now being sponsored by Douglas Rods, we had those Luz Super Duty rods. They're $150 and they were great. I loved them. They were great. Until I put my hands on the Douglas X Matrix rods, which are like $350 rods, and it was like, oh my god. I had my, the Luz Super Duty 1 to 4 ounce, which again is a great rod, and I won't speak anything bad about it because we've done a ton of damage on those.
So much.
But then I picked up the Douglas rod, and I was like, holy shit,
First
this 4 to
cast with
10
it?
ounce rod is like, it feels 10 times better than that Luz.
That first cast with the 250, I got a 6 to 14 ounce rod
Oh,
for
really?
the 250.
Oh,
Really?
yeah.
Now, what is a 250 weigh? I can't remember.
8 ounces?
6.5.
Oh,
Is it
really?
I think
No
it's
kidding.
6.5.
I've never actually thrown a 250. I've only thrown 175.
Well,
so I just
I
know
got
how
that
incredible they are.
6 to 14 ounce rod for the Gangcraft 303, which is 9 ounces.
Yeah.
12
That's a
inches.
big
Do you
base.
still have the Gangcraft?
Yeah.
Oh, do you?
Oh, yeah.
I've only thrown it a few times.
No offense to you, you're not the
Dislocate-
biggest guy. So
dislocate your shoulder,
these
too.
rods are neat. Well, the thing is again, you get the right rod, and it's going to work in your favor. It's going to work
Oh,
for you.
100%.
It's going to throw the bait for you. You get a rod that's not right, it's going to hurt you.
That first cast with it though, when I just you do like the, and it just loads up and it loads
lob.
up perfectly, and it just slinged
Perfect.
it. It was just like,
Yeah.
okay,
It changes
Yeah.
everything.
okay,
It's
this
like
is real nice.
He might not be the biggest guy, but he's widerly. Widerly.
I'm widerly.
What the crap is widerly? The replacements, anyone?
Yes, widery.
They call him the leg. The third leg.
Stop it. My mom might be watching.
My mom might be watching, but
She
she
made
would
it.
get a kick out of that. So
Kick out of the third leg.
Yeesh.
Inappropriate.
you see my sign I made?
I did. I wanted to make sure you have a chance to talk
I
about
want
that.
to make sure too, yeah, because that's something I figured out last year.
Is that
or the year
what
before.
you put up at your job site?
So just you're giving it to me. I'll touch base with it real quick.
This
It's
is
only
a
going to
great
take a minute.
sign.
If you guys ever go out night fishing, please don't call this number. If you guys ever go out night fish, I meant to block it before, whatever. I put this in my window, right? If the police show up, if some concerned citizen, AKA a Karen, shows up or whatever, anybody shows up, if they're worried about me being out there on the water, if it's cold, especially in April when I'm out there night fishing, it's good to make something like this. I laminated my wonderful wife, Shannon. We printed this, laminated it, put it on a piece of cardboard, and I just stick that right in my window. It's nice. It's waterproof, and it lets people know I'm out there. I'm not messing around. I'm supposed to be out there, and if you have any concerns about me being out there, send a text to that. My first sign that I didn't laminate got destroyed, right? But it said send a call or text, and I'm like, who does call in 2023? I don't. I'm sure not going to answer that.
I call like 3 people ever.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
The same way.
Maybe 2.
Exactly.
You?
So it's a nice little thing.
Yeah.
If you're going to be out there,
My
it's
mom and Paul.
it's an extra thing to just kind of, especially if like cops show up. I get a lot of cops. You see a lot of
Yep.
things
Oh,
happen
yeah.
on the boat ramps.
Yeah.
There's a lot of shady people. There's always shady people at any boat ramp. Almost usually always when I'm deciding to come in to
Yes.
the launch.
It's always when you
they
wanna
decide
leave.
to pop up. Yeah. I also keep a BB gun for the beavers, but it's actually a very convincing looking BB gun. I've been asked multiple videos on YouTube because I have
Why you
a
carrying
YouTube
it?
channel, right? And what's guy's got the pew pew on his kayak or blicky. I'm like, okay, it's a BB gun. I know it looks convincing, but what's nice is if I run into any crackheads at the launch, I got the blicky. Remember? It's just a BB gun.
The
Would you
blicky
like this in your forehead?
Ow, shit. This guy means business. Yeah, I just picked the loud one.
Yeah, he does. It's great. There was one thing that happened. Something didn't happen, but there was a situation of some kind, and I remember asking, "Did you bring that?" And you're like, "Yeah, I always have it." For the life of me, I can't remember, but it was like nothing even remotely close. But it was one of those that like made you stop and think, like something about this is out of the ordinary.
Yeah.
And that I know he almost always has it. And I was like, "Do you have it?" And he's like, "Oh yeah." I'm like, good. And then we just went about our business. Nothing happened, but it was just
Yeah,
Thinking
it's always
about
good
that.
to carry. I definitely.
I sleep with a 9mm under my pillow and a shotgun right next to my bed.
I got an M1. I got an M1, an old M1 with
Jesus,
17 in the
dude.
clip.
Is that the freaking musket?
No, it's the assault rifle. Like you
I know what
you
it
pull
is.
the-
I was gonna
okay.
say, if it was the
All right.
musket, can your wife play like the freaking the flute? Like,
That's
just start
loaded and
playing-
ready. And then I got a Bursa 380.
Just
Ready-
throw a
ready to
white
go.
flag at him. Wave this.
The Bursa 380 though will put a good
380 will
hole
do it.
into something if it needs to.
On that topic, I
I
really
don't
need
like
another
it. though. I
gun
don't.
because I used to have a Smith & Wesson 40, and it was one of the M&P version, I think it was, where it didn't actually have a safety, but it had like that dual trigger
Yeah,
action
mine
thing.
doesn't have safety. It's got a safety trigger.
Plenty of
I
bad
hated it.
run-ins with
The
beavers.
draw weight on the trigger was 15 pounds.
Jesus, dude.
I couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. I could not hit anything, and I thought I just sucked. Like, I really thought I just sucked
I
at
remember we
shooting.
went shooting with Josh.
Huh?
When we went shooting with Josh that one time, you brought it up.
Yeah. And so then I watched the video, and they're like, oh, there's 2 springs in there on the trigger. So if you pull out the internal one, it drops to like 10 pound. So I did that, and I still got hit the broadside of a barn. And like I remember talking to Josh and Casey. I'm like, dude, I think it's just me. I can't shoot for shit. Casey's like, gave me his 9mm. He's like, try that. And I was
ping,
like,
ping,
oh,
ping,
holy
ping,
shit.
ping.
Yeah, I was like, God damn, I can actually aim.
the guy.
And then the next time I went shooting was with my buddy, Olivia. And her and I went down to her shooting club down in, it's on the Charles River. She lived in, but it was like not downtown Boston, like way
I
west,
was gonna say,
down near like
Jesus.
Framingham area or something like that. But anyway, so they had a pin shoot. If you've ever done that, it's 8 candle pin bowling pins and then like one big one. So you sit there and you run down all 3. So you got 8 rounds, 8 pins, reload, hit the 9th pin. The first guy, person to go through and get all 8 and that win. I finished 2nd place on the day, only behind the club president.
Jesus.
That was only like the 4th or 5th time I've ever been shooting in my life, and I was like, okay,
Really?
I can aim. I sold that gun when I got home.
Nothing wrong with it. It's perfect.
I don't even keep it loaded. I just throw it at him, hoping he'll take it.
I mean, honestly, for home purposes, it's fine. Anything inside 20 feet. But I was trying to shoot like at 50. I couldn't hit anything. I digress. I really need another gun. I want to.
I'll go shopping with you.
Yeah, but I saw this and I was dying earlier. I was chuckling to myself from Anthony. I love throwing a spinnerbait with a massive Colorado blade to the point where the rod shakes harder than grandma with severe Parkinson's.
I never throw Colorado blades.
So-
I always do double willow. Always.
I throw
100% of the
both,
time.
but
Colorado
more
at
often than
night,
not, I
'cause
throw
it
the
gives
single
that
big
night.
Colorado
Yeah.
at night.
Yeah.
And I hadn't done it in a couple of years. And because I remember the last couple I had, I lost them. And I had them forever because I bought a bunch for 2009. I did a Bubba Bass Anglers overnight tournament, 7-7 on Stumpfield. There was 37 boats.
Oh my god.
God.
Oh, dude, it was nuts. It was, and I got my teeth kicked in, but I had fun. But so I had those for years. Don't only throw them so often. Ran out, so I bought some last year, and we went out and
was
we
it?
went to that spot,
What were you throwing?
single
Colorado.
giant Colorado blade spinnerbait.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I haven't thrown this in a while, and I picked up. I caught a shit ton of fish.
Oh, the
that
black
night on
one.
that. Yeah.
That night that we went out, oh, dude, caught a bunch of smallies.
Yep. It was
Oh,
awesome.
that was
Not
so
not
much
a damn
fun.
thing over 2.5 pounds, but
No, but it was fun. They were hitting so hard.
Yeah, we have beaver stories.
Oh, we got a lot of them.
We've got a lot of beaver stories. Melissa,
Keep it appropriate.
Oh, was
assume
that
where
from this?
Yeah. This is.
Donk Swampy. You ever had a bad run-in with a beaver? I had close calls where they scared the F out of me, but I never felt like they were approaching me. No, dude, they just scare the crap out
So
of me when they slap
they
their
never
tail.
they never actually like attack me in the kayak or anyone that I've ever known in the kayak.
In the
This-
kayak, but
in the
they will
kayak.
get close.
Yeah, what's up, DJ? I see you're high. But they will get very close, and this is the worst thing a beaver will ever do to you. You've gone like 2 hours. Maybe you've had a bite or two. It's silent. It's quiet.
Nothing.
No, it's not.
Literally
laughing. It's quiet.
not even a peep in the air.
It's not even
nothing.
nothing. All of a sudden, it sounds like the water has exploded from
Scares you to death.
dynamite.
Every time.
2 feet
Your
away.
heart. If you ever need to check the health of your heart, go night fishing. Not only you got that suspense thing we were talking about, like the first time you go, right? But then you get your first beaver on that same
Yeah.
night. Oh, it's. I've seen people put their hands up in the air and say, "I'm not night fishing ever again."
No, I had one.
Chase those things around. It's fun.
I think it was last year or the year before where I launched the crawler out. I was unaware that there was a beaver around me. It just went out into the dark, waited a few seconds, and I went to pop it to get it crawling, and there was nothing. No wait. And the first thing that went through my mind was, holy shit, I lost my crawler. Well, I kept reeling, and if there's no weight, I lost my bait.
Oh,
And,
did the beaver eat the-
So I keep reeling, and when I think I'm almost out of line and it should be in front of me, I click on my headlamp. There was a beaver tangled in my line, bringing my crawler back to me.
Oh god.
And when I clicked on my headlamp, he was
dropped
3
this.
feet from me. He slapped his tail. I got soaked. And
close
you
enough
talk
to soak
about
ya.
you talk about like heart attack. I died. I blacked out, and when I woke up,
Holy shit.
the beaver was gone, and I reeled in my crawler.
When I woke up,
I packed my
I just
stuff.
have to take a nap real quick.
I packed my stuff, and I went home. I literally
blame
did not take another cast. I could not. I was
Couldn't
shaking
shake it, huh?
so bad. I didn't want to fish anymore. And
Oh,
then
man.
last year, I actually hooked one.
Can't discuss those beavers here.
I actually hooked one last
hooked
year.
one?
Yes, because I
You
watched
actually got
it.
hooks in it. Oof.
I actually watched it and I saw it, and I knew the trajectory of that fish or my bait and that beaver. It was going to happen at the same time because it went right into my line. I was like,
Yeah.
So you know what? I was sick of them, and I wanted to see what would happen. So,
see
and
what
I did
happens
not.
here.
When I felt the weight, I didn't set the hook because I knew then it would get bad.
Oh, yeah.
And I kind of, when it figured out something had stabbed it,
Those things are
it
heavy.
went
went
right
ballistic mode.
really fast, and my kayak spun on a dime.
Oh man.
There's things
And
are
then it popped
so
loose.
Yeah, so-
heavy.
So,
Yeah.
heavy.
Oh yeah,
I've hooked on
they're
a jig
waterlogged,
before.
dude.
Have you? You've
Yeah.
hooked one on a jig before?
Yeah.
Man, I'm
And
lucky
I
to
thought
have
it was
never
a
hooked
giant. I thought it was a huge bass at
Like
first, and I was like,
turtles.
nah. Then
Oh
it's
my
a
god.
Didn't
Hooked
break
too many
your
giant-
snapping turtles.
so many snapping
not that
turtles.
one. But and then I thought it was a snapping. I thought it was a big bass, and then I was like, wait a minute, no, it's way too big. Then I was like, oh, it's a huge snapping turtle. And then it came up and slapped his hand. I'm like, son of a bitch! Couldn't get it out. I was like trying to get it. Somehow I was gonna try and help it, save it, get the hook out of it.
Yep.
Gonna do something.
Nah,
Wrap it with a nope.
no, I just you can keep that.
You can
one.
have that one.
My wife I have an episode on YouTube. My wife had an osprey dive on her rat. I thought for sure he was
no.
going to have the hooks, and I've zoomed in on the video, and you can see it in slow mo. You can see him going like that in the water for it, and then he goes. She ripped it out, and he goes away. And it didn't get hooks, luckily, but she caught her PB that day too.
That's
So
nice.
she almost caught an osprey.
There was this was 5 years ago. I was out there with Travis, Travis in California, Travis,
Yes.
and
Oh yeah.
same spot I saw you guys at night last year. But again, 5 years ago.
A lot of
and
times at that place.
oh yeah, dude.
Lots of times.
Well, now 5 years ago is when it was still good. But I was out there throwing the big rat, and he was throwing a giant pompadour thing. And I just remember I was talking to him, like, threw it up in the bank. You go around the island all the way down to the right where all the pads are. It's up in the shallow. Actually, literally the spot I saw you at. And that stretch is usually good. It's throwing it up behind the row of pads,
Stretch is good.
bombing up. I look back, I'm talking to him, and I hear, and I feel my rod go, I'm like, yes. I go to set the hook, and I turn my head, and I see a giant owl.
Yes.
And I was like, no. Turn it in, and I was like,
That
okay.
happens on Kersmax one night.
And I was like, oh, I was sick to see, but awesome.
Yeah, I've had it
So-
happen.
Throw it like 50 feet further away. And
After it again.
went right after it again. I'm like, son of a
Yeah.
bitch. So I burn it back, and he followed it. Third cast, did it again. I'm like, all right, dude, we gotta move, because I really don't want to hook that owl. It's just gorgeous owl. So we move 500 feet down. That motherfucker followed us.
Yeah, yeah. Did you ever see?
Whatever that stupid thing is, I'm gonna eat it.
I have a reel that has almost 1 million views on it because I put the stupid "when you have a bad day." Have you heard that
Oh,
thing
yeah.
before? Right. I put that over this owl that was dive bombing my spook.
I saw it, yeah.
You saw it,
Oh,
okay?
yeah.
Right. You see, that was a double. I played with him for like 25 minutes, and then I was like, "All right, that's enough." And I went. He was on this tree, and I literally went right up to him, and I was as close as me to that light right there.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
That's
awesome.
pretty sick.
No, like stuff like that. The animals, the owls. My first night trip this year, I had a raccoon that I heard it in front of me, so I clicked on my light,
Oh my God.
and I'm watching it do its thing on shore. I think I watched it wash its hands. It's kind of cute watching a raccoon wash its hands if you've ever seen it.
Oh yeah.
No, yeah, they're like,
It is cute.
So I was having fun, and I was going down the shoreline.
It's a delay. That was hilarious.
And so I kept doing my thing, and at that same speed that I was trying to get my crawler right on shore, actually, I think I was throwing Bruce, that raccoon followed me around 75% of the pond. And every time that bait would hit the water a foot from shore, it's like it was reaching for it. It was like, oh, give it to me. And
I'll eat that.
And I don't know, I hung out with the raccoon for most of the night because the fishing was really slow. So click on my light, I'd wave to it. I was hoping it waved to me because, yeah.
I saw a full-size duck get pulled under by a bass.
Oh, yeah.
That night, that was the night I lost my PB.
Oh, yeah.
Was it that same bass that ate the duck? I've seen baby ducks get eaten.
No, it was a full-size duck. I was coming along because he was probably like 200-300 yards away from me. Maybe not even that far.
200 or 300 feet.
Yeah, like 100 yards. And I'm coming along. He's like, watch out for the ducks. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And I turn around. It's pitch black. I can't see anything. All I hear is, rah, 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 rah. And like I turn around, there's like 50 freaking ducks coming up. I'm like, what the hell is going on here? So they're like cut behind my boat and like towards shore, and there's this dock. And I see one trying to catch up to the rest of them, and he comes right along the dock and just goes underneath. I'm like, where did that duck go? It comes back up. It's like, rah, rah, rah. Freaking fuck out.
Someone grabbed him by the legs.
It was either a bass or a snapping turtle because I've seen stuff like that happen.
It was big. Whatever.
Actually, I saw it was a baby duck at the. We took off our tournament, stopped watching little yellow ducklings, and the one trailing. It's always that one last one, and you just see the splash, and just a little twinge in your heart. You're like, oh. Okay, let's go over there and try to catch that bass.
I'll save you,
so
buddy.
Sad. What do you have for a giant wake bait, by the way?
Do you make any yellow ducks?
Well, all right. You know what? It's 9:30, and I'm not going to stop this prematurely, but we've done a really good job of being able to answer the vast majority of questions that come through in the chat, and it's been phenomenal. So for everybody that's still here watching, obviously, one, thank you very much. Two, if you haven't done it yet, please leave a like on the stream if you can. Just one little click. Pretty quick and easy, but let's kind of redirect this. And this was all about night fishing tactics, and we've answered a lot of questions that are along that topic. But I want to just turn it over to both of you. We'll let Derek go this first, just change things up a little bit, and I'll pose a question for you, and let's kind of short form answers. So for somebody that wanted to just start getting into night fishing, what is the number one tip you could give them, other than maybe something we already covered? Like we covered what to do about dealing with bugs. So being able to have I all of a sudden forgot the name of the damn thing. Thermocell. Thank you. Being able to have that on the boat goes a long way. Obviously, bug spray too, and a good headlamp.
Yes.
But beyond
that is huge.
Like aside from those things, like. Beginners, someone wants to really go out there and take it seriously. Like, what is the first thing you would tell them, just to keep in mind as they're going out there getting into it?
Stick to it. Don't give up. Throwing big baits is frustrating sometimes. You're not going to get as much action as your normal conventional stuff. You got to stick to it. Though. Yeah, sometimes you do. I've had nights where I think that's the only thing they're going to bite on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I think that's the biggest tip is don't go out there expecting extremely successful nights.
Yep.
Go out there thinking that it's going to be maybe you have 3 to 5 chances. That's what you expect.
Yeah.
If you don't and you set the bar really high, you're probably going to walk away more disappointed. That would be my number one is just kind of grind it out.
Yeah, that's to build on that. It's confidence is key. You're going out there. You're not going to have the confidence at first. Like I said, it's a shock. You have the world feels like it's literally like pressing on you. At least my first few times. Nowadays, I have to tell my wife because I want her to try it more. I really think she would like it because it's very fun to do. You're going to go out there. You're going to lose your sense of sight, right? What happens when you lose a sense?
Everything else becomes heightened.
Every other sense you have is increased. Your sound's increased. Touch is increased. So you guys are talking about using chatterbaits as your number one bait, right?
Yep.
And that's going to catch your fish just like it would during the day. But I'm not out there for that chatterbait bite personally. I'm out there because my senses want to get worked. I'm out there because I want to hear that.
Oh yeah.
I want to
hear the
feel the
toilet
rod
bowl.
load up.
Toilet bowl bite is the
Yeah.
best goddamn bite in
best
the
one.
world.
Oh, yeah, exactly. I want to hear it and feel it load up because my hearing and my touch are just so through the roof, and they're going to talk to each other. Say, I'm going to hear it, I'm going to feel it. You know, as opposed to like not taking anything away from a jig or a chatterbait, because catching fish is catching fish.
Yep.
You know, but not taking anything away from that. It's just so when you go out there, have the confidence before you go out. Ask the questions. That's my number one thing. I would say ask. There's no stupid question. The stupidest question is the question not asked. Just ask the question. Ask me. Ask Derek. We'll never turn down anybody that wants to learn anything about night fishing. I have taught and told umpteen, I can't tell you the number of people that I've gotten into night fishing, and they thank me all the time for it. And it's like, I don't need the thanks. You know, for me, you go out there night fishing, you lose the people, you lose the blistering sun. Usually 90% of the time, the wind goes away. The bait fish move up and get active. The big fish move up. Like it's a win-win-win situation. You know, you can't lose almost when you go out night fishing. But there, like Derek said, stick to it, because you never know. I've brought people out there first night and they've had a terrible time. Maybe they only got bit a couple times. Maybe they only caught one fish, right? And it's not always like that. 8 out of 10 times, you're going to have a great, maybe 7 out of 10 times to be reserved. You're going to have a great time.
Oh, yeah,
but
dude.
there is times, just like it's fishing, you know, it's gonna happen. So just go into it, have the confidence, because if you have the confidence, I'm gonna be cheesy real quick. You have the confidence in your inner energy. It travels up, travels down your arm, down the rod, down the line to the bait. I purely believe that's a thing.
You said that on your Jigs and Bigs interview, and
Yeah.
I have referenced that probably 5 times over the last year and a half on this stream.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Whether you believe it specifically to that or not, just that
Yeah.
perspective on it, I 110% believe.
I believe in
it's-
energy and energy. So we're not going to touch this real hard, but I mean, because people have, you know, religions and stuff, but mine is energy. I believe that energy can be projected. You can project yourself to where you want to be in life. You know, if you're stuck, you can project yourself out of it. You can work yourself out of it. So it's the same idea. You can control your energy. As cheesy as it sounds, I really feel like if you just have the confidence, it's going to happen. And I know with these baits, once I started getting smacked around on this crawler, my confidence was through the roof. I could not be there's nothing that would ever take the confidence. I've gone behind people using Spro Rats, using Buka Wake Gill, you know, whatever, any of these baits, right?
Yeah.
And this has a specific type of like drawing power,
Yes,
and it
it
will
does.
pull out a fish that won't bite a rat, that won't bite a wake in the same. It's just different.
Yep.
So that confidence just is there. It's just flat out there. So have the confidence, even if, you know, you're against adversity.
I think, it wasn't.
How's that for a short answer?
That's
It wasn't last year, but the year prior, my top 5 fish, I think it was 32 pounds just on
the crawler.
The crawler.
damn.
Yeah.
Did you beat Andrew?
No.
I don't know.
I don't know. We'll see.
I think it was like 32.7 or something like that.
Hold on. We got the stats.
I
Got the
still
stats.
have it. 2022 best 5. No, you beat Andrew.
I
Damn.
beat
Yeah.
Nate, whoever Nate is. I beat
That's our
him.
buddy Nate Ibera.
I beat you, Nate.
3101.
I almost beat you, Sean.
What was
I
last- what was the year
ounces
before,
off
though?
of Dirty 30.
Oh, really?
This
What
year,
was the year before?
Year before. Oh, hang on. Folder's on the other screen.
while you're holding on, this year, it's not night fishing, but I'm going to touch it real quick. I had the time of my life at Cayuga Lake in New York,
I saw that. Read the whole
and
post.
my top 5 went
Dude, that was
32-10. 32 pounds, 10 ounces in my top 5
Jesus.
Damn.
in my 4 days of being there. Place is phenomenal.
What did we get?
So even though I caught
Broke
my
my
PB
PB
that
twice.
year this was 2020. I don't have it for 2021. We missed a year.
Oh, yeah,
I wouldn't track it, but
So
for
this is the
2020
first year that we did it.
Yeah, you won. Oh no, sorry, Travis won again. He caught literally all those fish from one
you
pond.
guys using
I know
decimal,
exactly
not
where we caught
ounces?
them all.
Is it just cuz? Are you using the Rapala scale that has the storing points?
No, I had the Brecknell.
Oh, you have the Brecknell. Okay,
Yeah,
nice. Is that one decimal?
You can do either one on it.
Oh, why the
And-
hell do you use decimal?
More accurate, in my opinion, for one. And then 2, well, someone else was using another one of those decimal. So it was like half the people were using decimal ounces, the other one was using pounds ounces. But anyway, so even with my 7.31 PB, I still got beat by Travis. Bastard. I couldn't call out that last 4.
Oh,
Killed
no.
me. But looking back on last year, yeah, I mean, Andrew Andrew won with 3101. You know what
Nice,
the
Andrew.
friggin' hilarious thing about it is, too? He just beat me because of that last 6'10" he caught up in Vermont in friggin' the end of October. Son of a bitch.
On the depths 250.
On a depths 250.
Oh, that
Such
had
a
to
great
feel
bait.
good.
He dropped.
It's such a great bait, dude. You ever use it?
No, I've never used it.
It's phenomenal bait.
There's-
I don't have to use it to know how good it is. Though.
this is
really
it's
good.
Ooh, I like
flat
that.
out catch 'em.
Possess the fish. Bring warm clothes. I wear
Yes.
bibs too. The moon won't
Yes.
dry wet pants.
Yes,
yeah, dude,
yes,
condensation
yes.
is a nightmare.
Yes.
Yes,
And it doesn't
yes.
even need to be raining or anything. It just
No.
gets wet out.
So after
So-
from 12 to 5,
Yeah.
depending on the time of year, dew and moisture will build up on you, on
Yep.
your yak, on your boat, on your seats, on your
You just
everything.
get wet.
It just it just happens. So in the summertime, I don't really need to do anything but shorts and my sun shirt. That's pretty much it.
Yep.
Even with some, it's a couple months where you don't really build up with dew, but in the spring into the transition of summer and then out of summer into fall, you get those.
Yep.
You get dew and you bring the extra layers. Because you don't want to be out there
get
on a
cold,
hot
too.
bite and all of a sudden you're cold.
Yes.
And that bite is really hot. Maybe it's even getting hotter. And you didn't bring an extra bib or an extra sweatshirt or I wear. People know me. I wear night pants. I wear these like comfy I call
yeah.
them night pants.
You
What do I? They're
like
like
a chef.
PJ pants. Like
They are
PJ. They're
pants.
PJ pants.
They're strictly
Start
PJ
calling you
pants.
shit.
But I tell you one thing though.
They catch fish.
They catch fish.
And one other thing is, on top of clothes, don't make the mistake that I've made multiple times, and it's cold out, 40, 45 degrees, and then you chug ice cold water.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
I always
don't
have
do
hot
that.
coffee, even in
Yes,
the summer.
I
Use
you
a
know
Monster.
I'm so used to just
just like hot
drinking
coffee.
cold water. You do that when it's 40, 45, your night's done.
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Keep
You're
that-
done.
You keep that inner
Like
temp
I've
up.
tried to fight
Oh.
off the shaking, and you can't.
No.
And so it's like, yeah, you're done.
Electric hand warmers. I found them
Yes,
out last
that too.
year.
Yeah, dude.
They-
I got it
not
for
only
winter
do you,
fishing.
Not only do you have a battery
yeah.
backup for like your phone or something, a lot of them have the chargers built into them. Like mine has a
Same with mine,
for
yep.
both the charger for Android or iPhone, right? It's like 28,000 miles or something. It's a big battery, right? I can even use it for my GoPro. But you turn it on, you got 3 levels of warmth. You just take a couple minutes, you hold on to that electric heater. I don't need any of the braking kind of,
Yeah.
whatever they.
Yeah, the hot hands.
Yes,
and hand
hot
warmer,
hands.
yeah.
I don't need those anymore.
Those are the only thing I like about those. If you get the megas, but yeah, one, put them in your feet for the foot warmers too. But if you get the mega hand warmers, I can like curl my fingers around it. Like I can stuff
Yeah.
it in and then wrap it around my fingertips
dig it.
because I wear like the fingerless gauntlet gloves.
Yep.
So about that much my fingertips are not
Look at
covered.
Jeff.
So I can just get them up, wrapped up, and it feels good.
September. Jeff, that's our current club
I was
president.
hypothermic for 4 hours, dressed properly. Yeah,
Yeah, he just started. Jeff, did you just start last year? Right? You only been out a couple times. You're a new guy to it.
He actually won that one, didn't he?
Jeff doesn't win. I'm just kidding.
Well,
Did
he
did
won.
good, I
he
think.
won the fall all nighter because
Yeah.
I didn't do it. That's why he won. But
That's why he won.
Donk Swampy, bring TP. No. We've been over this. You bring wipes. When you're out in the woods, you want
Dude,
wipes,
and,
not
and I
TP.
beat Chris.
And I
And
did.
it
Chris. Very rarely
extra
does that
pair of
happen,
socks.
but yes, you did. You did.
Extra pair of socks works too.
Extra pair
Extra
of
pair of
socks.
socks.
No, absolutely. Even for for seriousness, extra pair of socks, and
Yep.
then for joking, yes, for your ass, pair of socks.
Or another t-shirt, so just in case you're missing a sleeve or.
Well, I was gonna say that's the whole reason for the long sleeve sun shirts. They know what the emergency
yeah.
of the
Oh, yeah,
long
yeah.
sleeve is for.
But that's the last thing you want to do is when you hear creatures on the shore and then you have to get off your kayak.
Remember from before when
yeah.
I said you want to stay in the kayak
Yeah.
in the water?
Yeah.
I try and
hang
get all
over
the
the
poop
thing.
out before I leave. Go multiple times.
Are
Hold
there
it.
holes in the bottom of your kayaks?
There is a port.
You know, look at him now. He's like
Squatty
"Ooh."
potty in the building.
Yeah, and you could just like
Squatty potty in the building.
slap the water with the paddle and it'll like go back up and like it's like a bidet.
Jump around a little. It's like a bidet.
Yeah, that might work. You jump around, water will come up.
We've gone
Anyway.
way off track.
Yeah.
Night fishing.
so so they covered their two most important, I guess, tips of advice there. What about you, Andrew? If like someone going out for the first time, what are you gonna tell them?
throw a wake bait.
Yes.
Yeah.
Throw
Yes.
a wake bait. Do
Oh,
not.
rat.
Don't. Yeah. Just go buy a rat.
Spro 50.
I got my girlfriend to catch her first bass on the exact same rat. The first rat that I ever had that Todd had given me. He gave it to me. I went out. He gave it to me at the boat launch. He met me before he was going to work.
Yep.
And it's when he worked at the restaurant down in
Okay. Yeah.
wherever that was down in
Yep.
Boston. or
Woburn?
whatever. Woburn, maybe.
I forget.
But
He was
he gave it to me. It was one of the smaller ones.
Oh, okay.
And third cast, got a fish on it, called him. He's like, "Fuck
Yeah,
yeah, now go
yeah.
get the 50." So the next day I went out and bought the 50, and that's all I fished
That's
since. And so I
money
brought my
size.
girlfriend out to a place right next to her house last year, and I gave her that rat. It was stuck in my door of my truck, like down in the pocket. Like the
Okay.
hook was stuck down. I grabbed a pair of pliers and I was like, I've had enough. I just ripped the thing out, bent the hook back, tied it on, gave it to her. We went out and she caught a bass on it. It was so
great.
awesome.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. First time out. Yeah, get that rat.
Yeah.
Get that Spro 50. Really, I would go right to the 50 personally.
I would too.
I would. That's what everyone
But
says.
if you're
and I
not
agree.
used to throwing bigger baits, you don't have a setup for it.
Yeah, go 40 or 30.
You can go like the 40 or 30 and throw it on like a jig rod or something like that.
The 30
Yeah.
you can throw on a damn drop shot rod.
Oh yeah, pretty much. That's pretty much what she was throwing it on. It was a 40 though. Yeah. Throw a wake bait.
Absolutely. For me, it's going to be twofold. One, if you're looking for areas, like, what do you tackle night fishing any differently than you would during the day? Yes and no. To keep it really, really simple, no. Depending on the time of the year, they're pretty much doing the same damn thing at night. The only thing I will say is pull back about 20 feet. And that's like a kind of very broad general rule of thumb. But like I know that if I, we'll say post spawn, so largemouth are still up shallow. They're especially when you're getting closer to like end of June, water temps are getting up towards 80. Now you're getting close to bluegill spawn. Those largemouth are still really pulling up tight. And that's like a perfect time for your first time to do it too, right? That's probably your highest probability of success at that time of the year. And during the day, I'm going to crash ashore. I'm going to get up where all those bluegill beds are, and I'm going to work around that area. But at night, I'm going to go to the end of bluegill beds, and I'm going to pull back about 20 feet because I feel like the majority of the bites end up being a little bit further back. But that's
Very
like kind of my starting point all the way to the bank. I just broaden that window. So that's one. And then two, just enjoy it. That's the
Yes.
biggest
Yeah.
thing. It's
Yes.
There's something so cathartic about being out there on the body of water in the middle of the night with nobody, nothing, especially get a nice, really clear night.
Yep.
And you go into areas that generally have pretty light, very low light pollution in
pollution,
general.
yeah.
Like we're in
Yeah.
Milford. If you go even 30 minutes northwest of
nailing
us,
what I wanna say here,
totally
definitely.
different animal for what you get for light
Totally.
pollution that you can see like Milky Way on a really, really good night. And it's just
Oh.
like, just enjoy that. Like it's a deeper connection with nature, in my opinion. And like I don't go out there specifically
I love
for
that.
that. I appreciate that aspect of it while I'm out there. And when you're not getting bit for like 2 hours and you just sit there and you realize you're just
You're
kind of
really-
stare up into the sky and it's like this
Yeah.
is
Your
just
neck's
nice.
hurting because you don't realize
you
you
know
are
what-
staring at stars for the
You know
last
what's
hour.
nice?
You look up too tall and you're like,
I'm hearing somebody else say what I preach, and I love hearing that because it goes back to the energy thing. We all this is cheesy. We all come from the earth. We all need to keep that connection to the earth. Our bass fishing is a primal connection to the earth, really. And then when you do it at night, like he said, especially without the light pollution, enjoy space, man. I've seen Starlink go over me countless times. That's
saw
something
that.
to see. It's almost like alien invasion, right?
Yeah, dude,
I
it's
can't tell
wild.
you how many shooting stars I've seen.
Oh, you see
I've
'em.
seen like the
Yep.
northern lights. I've seen so much that I wouldn't see because I'd be sleeping or whatever. It's a whole nother earth out there. It's a whole nother way to enjoy nature. You are connected in a whole nother way that words don't work. And you pretty much nailed it. It's enjoy the earth that you
Yeah.
are on out there. You don't have to catch the fish to enjoy it.
I had one
That's something so cool.
experience, I think last year. I was out doing my thing, and everything lit up blue for like
From a shooting star,
a
right?
flash. I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know. I mean, I didn't
Yeah.
have
A
time.
meteor.
That was a shooting star.
I didn't have time to look up. But
just all of a
literally,
sudden,
Some of them.
hillsides, mountains,
Yes.
the whole world literally lit up and then went back dark.
That's
Yeah.
a shooting star, man.
Wild.
A good
I've
shooting
seen
star.
that.
And
Not all like that.
I didn't know. I kind of just stopped fishing, and then I
Hell was that?
yeah, and then
Was
No,
that or a
restraint.
transformer?
after I
One of the
could,
two.
yeah, right. After I kind of processed it, it was 1-2 a.m. I was like, I feel like I'm the only one on this earth that just saw that.
oh yeah.
I was
It's-
like, it was the weirdest, coolest thing.
is
And
so
then,
cool.
next day I'm on like Facebook, like somebody's got to, oh, what was that flash last night? Or, whoa, did, a planet blow up? Or, I was like, nothing. There was nothing. And I was like, so I literally was the only person that probably saw that, where everything for miles and miles just went blue, white, and then went back to dark.
I'm
That's
upset
awesome.
with the number of UFOs I don't see.
I don't
Okay,
know,
we
man.
can bring it up. We have to bring
I've
it up,
seen
right?
some things, but go ahead.
I
bring
don't
it up.
like 100% believe in that shit, but like,
Oh, I do.
There was that one night we were out there.
dude, like
Yeah,
It
I
looked
do.
like
I've
the North
seen
Star.
stuff, but
It
not
looked
Like
many
3 times bigger.
Yep.
we saw it separate times and we didn't say anything to each other until we were both just
Okay.
like, all right, dude, what the hell is that? Like,
It was as bright as a North Star, but 3 times bigger. So it still looked like a star or planet, but it was kind of big. And I was sitting there and looking at it, and it's wiggling in the sky.
yeah, we're like,
And I thought I was just like not stable on my feet, so disregarded it for a couple minutes. I look back up and it's still happening again. I'm like, I'm overtired, whatever. I didn't think anything of it. And then I look back up a couple minutes later, and it's still doing it. So I stop fishing and I stand there and I'm like holding myself dead still, and I'm like neck locked, and I'm seeing it like do this in the
it was
sky.
like,
And at the same time, we both look at each other and
Erratic
we're like,
movement. Yeah.
what the fuck is going on up there? Like, I couldn't tell what it was. So initial thought was like, well, maybe it's a plane coming at us. But then I was like, no, I've been looking at this thing for
It's like
fucking
an
20
hour.
minutes. It hasn't moved other than that one little squiggle area. And we were both like, then we both sit there staring at her like, we're both seeing this, right? And we
like we're
could
not
explain
crazy,
it. It
right?
was-
You still seeing that? Like,
So that
what the
sounds
fuck?
like a legitimate. Oh my goodness! But
No
there's
idea what- no
sometimes that
explanation.
people do the respect lanterns or whatever. They're like this big
Yeah,
and they
yeah,
light them
yeah.
on fire
Yep.
and they go across in the sky. And I've been like, not duped, but like I've been like, whoa, what's going on? But it had a pretty like
A
set
trajectory?
track. Yeah, trajectory. It was like pretty
Yeah.
constant. It wasn't.
No, this was
No,
not-
this it was locked in one very specific spot, like a star that if you stood there for 4 hours, you'd eventually see progress. But no, for what, like a half an hour?
I'd say up to an hour.
It was
Because we
a pretty
kept
long
looking
time.
back and looking at it, we're like, it's still
It's
there.
still
Like,
there.
It's still in there, but it literally looked like it was just kind of like
it was just doing like,
just this.
it was weird.
Then I thought like maybe a helicopter that was like hovering, trying to
It
hold in a
was
spot, and then I
missing
was
a
like,
prop,
that still
so it's
isn't
doing
doing
this.
it was weird.
Any
Some crazy
outdoors?
stuff.
I'll
This
take
is
that.
great
real
question.
quick.
What time do you recommend?
So for me,
going night fishing.
well, what time do you recommend going night fishing? Close to the sunset or sunrise? The answer, like earlier, yes.
From sunset to sunrise.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I go usually an hour before and then an hour after. So, and say it's the summertime
Bingo.
where it's going down right around 9. I'll get on right around 7 or so. I usually get on a little earlier. I'll get on right around 7 or so. Do some conventional because I'm the swim bait guy that's like 80-85% swim baits, but I won't put my nose. I still a tournament fisherman. I'll still use conventional. I still like conventional.
Yeah.
I still enjoy those things. But yeah, that's if it's right around 7 p.m. and then about 7 or so a.m. I'll get off. Right around 4:30. So as a night fisherman, you're gonna love this because you're gonna relate to this, and you guys might if you've stayed out long enough. You guys ever done full nights?
I've done
Full nights.
1 or 2.
If you've
The
done it,
latest I've gone to is about 3:30. I
if
think.
you've
With the
really
exception of
fallen
the
in
tournament.
love with it and you've done it 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. enough, right? Like a good dozen or so times, you're really addicted. Right around 4:30, you start getting that little crack of light,
Yep.
and it puts me almost into depression.
Oh jeez.
I'm not even lying. I start seeing that light, and I'm
oh,
like,
it's over.
the night's over.
Yep.
Then I might as well stop. Like, not really, I keep fishing.
Well,
'cause-
that's our tournaments, this nighttime tournament coming up. We're in that time of year where we got a lot of light and less night.
I know, right?
And,
the flag's all screwed up.
What you think it gets dark right now? Probably around 9:30, probably 9:30 when
Let's say-
it is
yeah, right.
dark.
Yeah.
So we get 9:30. Light will start probably showing around 4:30.
Cracking.
So yeah,
Yep.
so we have kind of a small window of our passion right now. Now last year, I went crazy during our night tournaments. We can pond haul.
yeah, you can pause.
If I
Nice.
was in a pond and I wasn't feeling it,
go to
I'd
another one.
be
10
going to
minutes
another
away.
one. I'd fish 3 or 4 in a night.
Damn.
Jesus.
Now before I was done, all of
I've
a
done
sudden
3 or so.
I'd start hearing birds, and
Yeah.
the depression set in. And I was like, it's
No,
already
it's
over.
Yeah, depression.
So-
It's literally.
But then we did I think it was the September one, maybe, I don't know, it was one. But
we're
it's like the night never ended. I actually took a break. I literally, I got on another body of water. I went about 200 yards out, and I had to be in a channel
Yep.
because there was swamp all around. I mentally couldn't handle it. I was like, I was like, you know what? And I turned around, pedaled all the way back to my truck, put the kayak on the beach, went, ate food, drank, I don't know, my third energy drink of the night, and then waited till I started hearing birds.
Yep.
Once I heard those first bird chirps, I was like, I'm probably about 30 minutes from light. And then I got back in.
Nice.
But for some reason, the darkness, it just felt so long that I think I was going crazy.
I bet.
Been there.
Yeah, a few times.
That's intense.
Andrew can answer for the two of us for, when we go out night fishing, we always have the same game plan every time. And there's always that lull in between. But go ahead, buddy. You can answer for both of us.
What, the lull?
Well, it's like
question.
start time.
What was the question? Sorry.
What time do you recommend going night fishing? Closer to sunset or sunrise? We almost do the same thing every
About an
time
hour
we go
before
to night.
sunset, all the way until you're tired and you can't fish any longer.
Usually we end up
about
starting around 5 or 6. The added benefit of that is,
We get a couple hours a day in, and then
yeah, we
fishing
can kind of
through
see
the
how
night.
they're positioned, and that kind of helps set the
Right.
tone for how we're going to tackle it once it dark settles in. And that last hour of daylight is stupid good.
Yeah,
Yep.
that
Almost
chatterbait
every
bite
time.
is absolutely nuts.
Yep,
The
top
last-
water bite goes off.
As soon as the sun hits the trees, chatterbait comes out.
Yep.
Every
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
Every time.
That's a good idea.
But then at the moment it hits full dark, like full dark, and you'll hear like that last hour of light right at the start of that hour. All of a sudden, you start hearing everybody busting off on
That's
top.
magic hour.
Yep, and you start just throwing everything, and
8:30
it's
to 9:30.
magical, and it's consistent, like dead consistent for how much activity you hear, and then just like that, it shuts off
Until
and that
10,
next hour
10:30.
sucks every time.
Till around anywhere
yeah,
between
yeah.
like 10 and 11, and then it'll start picking up again.
Well,
Yep,
not
and then
actually-
around 11
Yep.
till the end.
Yeah.
But I've had it,
Yeah.
I've had it where sucked until 11.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
happened to us more often than
And
not.
then
In the
all of a
last fish
sudden-
trips.
And then all of a sudden it just, even fishing the same water, like same stretch. It
Yeah.
suck, and then boom, 11, midnight, all of a sudden you fish that same stretch, and they won't stay off the bait.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, it's just timing. I don't, it's, at that point, who cares what it is? It's awesome.
Right. So, all right, it's almost 10. Good opportunity. Is there anything that you guys wanted to touch upon that we have not touched upon? Whether people didn't ask the question or we didn't get around to it yet.
What?
We touched upon you.
I had to touch upon you.
Yeah.
I'll be right back. Ooh, hey.
Touching everything's being touched upon. Anything I haven't touched upon? Let's see here. I can't say as if there's really much. I suppose I kind of touched on it, the water temperatures and how I use my retrieves. In the April or March, leading into May, I'll do like I said. I'll let it hit, let it dissipate. And then do the slow retrieve and then pause, slow retrieve, right? Be real careful with it. As the water warms up, I start changing what I do a bit. I'll cast it out, let it hit. Before the water gets warmer, I won't walk the bait because it's not really there. But I will start a slow, steady retrieve with no pauses. And then as the water warms up and they start hitting more of a reaction strike, I'll let hit the water. Bruce, Kersmax, all my baits walk. Well, Mulligilla crawler doesn't walk. That's a whole nother thing.
Yeah,
I'll actually probably move away from the crawler once they start getting to more of the reaction. They'll still hit it.
They-
I know.
they
I
hit
know.
it. They
I
hit
know.
it.
I know. But I'll move
3
away
seasons.
so that I can walk something. I really like once that water starts warming up, early summer and beyond. I'll let it hit. And I'll go 3 to 5 times. Tap, tap, tap on either Bruce or Kersmax or, Bruce or Kersmax or the rat, right? And this thing will just walk right in place. And if I don't get hit right there, like you would on a spook or anything like that, I'll pause. Sometimes I'll hit right on that pause for 2 seconds or so, and then slow, steady retrieve. And then they'll hit just a few cranks into there usually. Sometimes they'll hit, often right next to, not often. Sometimes they'll hit enough right next to the boat. But more often than not, they're either hitting on the walk, on the pause, or on the steady crank back, somewhere between immediately and halfway to the boat. But the ones that hit you right next to the boat usually are a giant too, which is funny. Kind of happens to be the way it works. And scares the living shit right out of you.
every time.
It's like
Because
back
it's
to the
using it
beaver
as a
thing.
pinch point. They're
doesn't-
using the boat as a
Pinch
pinch
point.
point.
Using the boat as a pinch
And
point.
Ambush
Exactly.
point.
Yes.
Yeah. They're
Ambush
like
point.
corralling
Any-
it up against hard structure they can see. And they wait till that last second.
Anything within 5 feet of the kayak is gonna. I got scared by a rock bass last night. You know, I'd given up on the cast, and I
Caught rock
was
bass on these things.
Oh my god!
I was literally about, to pick up and reset, and just the little, pop, and
Yep.
just the tap, and just, Jesus, and literally the rock bass went in the air with my bait, and then went, and it never touched the water again. I was holding it up. I was like,
Son of
Dude, I would say on the topic of big swim baits,
actually
these big treble hooks.
caught it on Bruce Skillets.
That's awesome. There's nothing worse than getting a kibby that gets all 3 hook points.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
they come up and then close their mouth on it. I'm like, how the hell am I supposed to get that out?
It's like, how the hell are you going to get it out of me? What are you doing?
Ripping it apart. Oh, it's so. I got a smallmouth. It was almost 4 pounds. Not to interject, but
Yeah.
it was. What was it on? I think it was on a Spro 50. It had all 6 hook points in it.
Oh my god!
It was just under 4 pounds. Every hook point of both trebles was in it, and it was locked in. I remember having to just ripping the mouth open and trying to get anything.
Yep.
To get leverage. I'll never forget that bass.
I've had some perch that eat it like that. That I'm like, what do I do? And my hand's already gravitating towards like my pocket knife. Am I going to cut this head off? Get my bait back.
Yeah, right now I would target super shallow. Yep, absolutely.
Dude. Yeah,
That's
good
funny
question.
because I that's all I targeted last night where I was. And
super
you
shallow.
know where I was. I was
Yeah.
literally
It's like
2
super
feet
shallow.
or less.
Nice.
That's all I was doing, and I could not get a sniff. Now,
Really?
I think it was the water body I was in. I think it's a later, because this happened to me there last year where it was super slow to kind of get into
Oh, yeah, yeah.
the nighttime thing. Now, the 2 that I did catch last night, they were super shallow.
Yeah.
They were in no water. They weren't big, but
They were probably bedding.
Yeah.
They were probably bedding.
Now, I tried. There was so much pollen on the water everywhere last night. I was standing up in the kayak, kind of scoping around to see if I could see a bed,
Yep.
kind of key me off, but I couldn't find any.
Yeah.
I thought it would be super shallow. They might have been there, but they just were not
So with a place
in
like
the
that,
eating. But I've had it there where I'll fish super shallow, like you say, when bluegills.
Yeah.
They'll start bedding up.
Yeah.
And,
right after
you
spawn,
know where I
yeah.
caught that 7.5. That's where I was last night.
Oh, okay. Yep.
And so
I love that place.
Oh yeah.
I started super shallow, so I've had it where I won't get bit, and then I'll drop 20 yards out.
Yep.
And try the shelf.
Because,
and
that
stuff.
whole right side shoreline is big boulders
yeah.
that not a lot of people know about.
No, you're absolutely right about that.
And I'll hit them there.
Keith did the dance parties the night your lower unit got destroyed.
Kind
by
of
the road.
figure when you said rock bass.
I need to do an interjection here. The places like that, that specifically is a trout pond. I can say that much about it.
Yep.
Okay, so it doesn't open until the 3rd Saturday or 4th Saturday.
Fourth Saturday.
Fourth Saturday of every April. It closes October 15th. Places like that, they stock the trout, they feed our bass. It's great. The thing is they heavily stock it before it opens the first few weeks. So generally what I found with trout ponds is they don't really act right for the first almost month
Spot on,
after
dude.
opening.
It's
It's
ridiculous
they're just
how much it
gorging
changes
on
it.
trout. Probably a good idea to do a trout 250 or a trout Huddleston or something like that might work. But
Well, we went to one
I
particular
just-
designated trout pond 3 weekends in a row, specifically trying to do that.
I was just there. That's funny.
But yeah, it's actually that might be true. That they are loaded up on trout.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the opening weekend, I went to this particular body of water, and I did well. And it was miserable weather. Water was still only like 48, but I caught a 414 smallie. I
Yep.
was like, all right. Then we went back the next weekend. They had just stocked it, and it was shit. So
Yep.
it is what it is.
It might, that's a good thing I'll put in the back of my mind to avoid that place until at least mid-June. 'Cause
After spawn.
Once July hit,
2 weeks
that
will be
place
fine.
that place was fire.
Yep.
Yeah.
You couldn't, and
Spawn gets into.
summertime, you got that summer heat. Our tournaments start at 6 at night. I would get there at 6, and I would not get touched until about 9:30, 10. As soon as it got dark, it wouldn't stop. When everybody is loading their boat up,
Yep.
all of a sudden, I'm popping off.
That's
And
awesome.
I'm like, see you later. Like, you're missing it.
Later, idiots.
Later, guys. I'll get this shift.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to digress for a second just because you got me thinking about that area in general. There's the other body of water that you drive by, main road.
Yeah.
I've been
Found
fishing
a
that
7-8 dead there.
since. Did you really?
I got it on video. Yep.
Yeah.
Damn.
There's giants in there.
So all those places that I've been fishing since 2004. I was landscaping in college.
Yep.
And we did a lot of jobs out there. So that's where I started like finding all those places. Like, oh, cool. So the one on the main road.
Yep.
Shitty launch.
Very.
Dude, I've got my teeth kicked in there more times than I care to
I have
count.
too.
I don't
Shitty launch. We might not be talking about the same spot.
I know we are.
Oh wait, we might be. No,
Yeah.
now
It's like right next to the road.
But yes,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. You videoed it, whatever it was.
It's that
yeah.
one, right?
Yeah.
It looks magical.
Oh,
and,
it is.
And I've only been there 5 times though. So in
I
all
have
fairness.
I've got my
Once.
teeth kicked in more times than not there, and I fished there a lot.
It's like the
seems
Potanapo
like-
of Western New Hampshire.
Yeah.
Oh, we don't say
It is.
Potanapo.
It is. And,
Oh my god.
and that place, you know when I have the most success there?
What?
Through the ice.
Do you really?
Yes.
Potanapo?
No.
Oh,
The other
oh,
one.
oh, the other place. Yeah.
Through the ice in the worst weather possible.
That's funny.
That's weird.
So which I fished there.
Commercial.
You know, open water, sunny days. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Don't drive by it. Drain the place. I don't care during sunny days.
Pave it.
But if it is windy, pouring, you could have an absolutely epic day.
I'll have to remember that next time I go out.
Like
in-
if
in,
you
like,
say,
weather
"Oh my
like that."
God, I really don't want to go out."
I don't say that.
Well, yeah, I know you don't.
Bottom baits
But-
at night. You already touched on that.
You know what?
Yeah, I did.
I would think about that place because
Yeah.
if you can get in there and the weather is crap,
Yep.
and if it's the right day, you might be able to push your 30-pound bag right there,
That's all we've been chasing. An 8 and a dirty 30.
and they're both there.
27 pounds that one day
There's
last year,
8-pounders
but-
in every 8-pounders.
8-pounders.
There's 8-pounders in every single pond in this state.
Yep.
You
I don't
just
know
got-
about every single.
I truly 100% believe
there's
it.
a good 6, 7 plus in every pond, and many have 8s. I would
I
agree
almost
with
guarantee almost every single pond in this state has an 8-pounder sitting
that. I
in
can
it
tell
somewhere.
you some that don't.
Besides some of the shitty ones.
Okay, I can tell you a lot that don't.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I agree, though. There's way more big fish in the state than people
Yes.
will give
And that-
credit to.
That actually, you know,
Because they're
keyed
smart.
me
They're
on-
not going to eat stupid
Yes.
shit.
So when I got into nighttime fishing, there was a lot of ponds that I would avoid because they were filled with dinks.
When you realize,
So-
when you
Those are the
realize-
ones that
you
have the
remember
biggest
that weight
fish.
distribution
Yes.
per acreage.
Yep.
It can't just be all dinks.
And so I started exploring a lot smaller bodies of water because they were easy. They're fast. I'd be like, oh, I can only get out for a couple hours. It's
Yeah.
right down the road. I don't care. I know I'm gonna catch fish, but they're all gonna be small. You might be very, very surprised at what you find at night.
Yep.
Because one particular pond was sold that there wasn't anything over 4 pounds in there. Well, surprise, surprise, every time I went in there that summer, I was pulling one over 5. One that I didn't weigh and I could only measure was just short of 23 inches. And from anything that I've experienced with how fat that was probably my 4th ever 7+.
Probably.
And I don't have a scale. I know it was over 6 because that
When was
thing, that was 2 years ago, 3 years
Is that
ago.
on my bait?
Of course it was on your bait. What, did you think I was throwing a wacky rig?
Wait, that's right. I got you into night fishing. I forgot.
But yeah, and
Sometimes I forget that.
if you do get into night fishing, go to your, first confidence spots.
Yeah.
But second, don't be surprised at what you find in your confidence spots if you only think there's little fish. 'Cause
Right.
you can be very surprised at what shows up at night.
Yep.
That's
Spot
true.
on. All right. Any other parting thoughts you guys got? It's 10 o'clock. We've been at this for 2 hours.
I could probably talk about this for another 3 hours. So you're gonna have to cut it off at some point then.
Well, all right. Then let's cut it. But let's
See
do
you
another
guys
follow-up.
next week.
Let's do another follow-up to this in, say, like 2 months. Yeah, that puts us towards the end of
Right.
July.
Yeah,
And we'll do
absolutely.
this again.
Well,
Huh?
can you,
Right in the middle of summer.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll kind of give us, updates about our tournaments and
Yeah.
how's it going and
Yep, I like
Well,
it.
and in that point too, we'll definitively have a lot more actual night fishing reports that we can all speak to, right? Because that's what we do at the beginning of every one of these streams, right? We do our weekend fishing report, and that's kind of one of the benefits of it is we give real time feedback, and we try to give people general areas. Never, unless it's like Champlain or Winnie, we never tell them exactly where, but we general areas so that going into the weekend, people kind of have a heads up, like, okay, now I at least am somewhat prepared for what the region is doing potentially. So to be able to have that and have more recent reports will be excellent. So that's the plan. We'll come back to this in about 2 months, like 6 to 8 weeks, somewhere in that window, and I will guarantee you have plenty of fish pics on this to share as well. Which thank you very much again. By the way.
You're welcome.
I appreciate that.
You're welcome, dude.
But
Smacks.
What?
I have one right behind you that can be yours.
He was going to give it away already.
Yeah.
You guys can trade back
look
and
at his
forth.
face. He's like,
He's giving him a
I
Chris
brought it here to
Smacks.
give away.
Would you like one? He's got one. He doesn't
Yeah,
fish
sure, I'll
it very often.
What am I gonna say? No.
No. We know you might not fish as much because I know you guys aren't the biggest like with wake baits, or at least I don't remember you guys.
wake
being
baits is our primary thing, except for
Since
this year.
when?
That was like really the thing that
Okay.
got me started, and then
Yeah,
I
it
went
gets
really.
everyone
Then for
Yeah.
was like that first year, that's all I would touch because we were
I
killing.
just throw a
it.
lot of glide baits.
Yeah, and then the next year, I couldn't get shit on the wake bait, but I was killing them on crankdowns. And then now this year, I was like, you know what? I really just want to focus on glides because I've got confidence in wake. I've got confidence
Rear
in
hooks do not
crankdown.
have covers. Don't hook yourself to start off.
That's fine. I'll.
He's gonna
Well,
hook himself.
thanks.
I know it's not as cool as his, but I'm sorry.
No, dude, this thing's rad.
That's fun. You can rip the feathers off if you want. I
No.
was
He wants the
tying them,
feathers.
and remember the hook foul thing we were talking about?
Yeah.
I almost think that I was fouling more with the feathers.
That
So I
one
start-
does
so I
get a
ripped
little
my- I
bit
ripped
every
them
now
off.
and then.
I'll try.
Here's the
it.
Try it,
question
and if not, cut them off.
on both of these: snap swivel or no snap swivel?
Oh my goodness! Thank you for actually asking.
That's a good
Yep.
yeah.
Guys, if your bait has a lip or gives head motion like this right here, always use a split ring or a snap. I don't care which of the two you're using, because what it does
one or
is
the other.
it gives a break, a pivot point right
you.
here.
Yep.
Right? As that thing,
Enjoy
do
it.
that nice squeaky
Like we were
joint.
talking. I was like,
As
dude,
that
I-
thing is going side to side, you have a break point in that, right? When you want to direct tie,
like he was saying,
is when you're doing like a jig application, or
literally keep
and I
that
say that like
in a spot
Huddleston,
like this, and just-
the mag draft
You
type
make
of
it
thing,
Yeah.
nice in
things
one
like that,
spot.
where you have to like wrench into it and really set the hook, and there's not really much motion.
Yeah, 'cause
Yep.
I know it doesn't. When
Beyond that, I always
I gotta-
recommend a
I gotta
tactical
make
snap.
space. I have
Some
another
people will
bait coming.
use a tactical snap and they'll cut it off and they'll put a tactical snap on everyone and treat it like a split ring. I personally find that dumb. If you're gonna do
Yeah,
that,
I can't
just
stand that.
put a damn split ring on. Some people don't like snaps because they're like, you use them all the time and you blah blah blah. They'll come up with something. I have used almost the same snap for like years and I don't have any issues. Like I love snaps. I can go off,
Yep.
on, and I'm fishing again with a split hook in essence.
Now,
So anyways,
is there any specific size you recommend for
I have
your
some right
baits?
here.
you talking about size snaps?
Yep. Or does it
So I use the P-Line Tactical. Yep, there's one right there.
like?
That's a size 2 or 3. Is that a 3?
That looks like
I
a
use
3.
Remember.
That might be a 3.
Yep.
I started using the 3s more because I started with 2s. 1s are way too small. Don't even use 1s. I started using 2s and I liked them, but then I started to use the 3s and I think I like 3s better.
Okay.
So I would do a tactical snap. I use P-Line, but there's so many. Spro has them. It really doesn't matter. I don't think it matters the brand. I don't know. I haven't really bent any out yet.
Okay. So yeah, and the reason I ask is like I know my 2 bull glides I got, bull shad in particular, they design everything no snaps, everything's direct tie, and then I have an LFOD monk, and I remember asking that question. They recommended an egg snap size 2, I think, but they said you probably could use something else, but we designed them around this specifically. Haven't really swam with anything else, so that's just what we recommend. So I know what I've
You're
been
saying
finding so far.
The bull shad's like a shad, right?
Yeah, they direct tie, no snap.
That's what they told you to do?
Yeah.
I don't know what they're smoking, but I want to try some of it.
Yeah. No, so, but when they design and make them, that he specifically does it with no snap. He
Hey,
ties
he's done
direct.
it way longer than I have. What can I say, right?
I remember when we were at the show talking to
would
Mike
put a snap
about
on
it,
the damn thing.
Mike Buka, and he elaborated on it, but I can't remember what he said. And then Brian Correa, a guy we know
Yep,
really
I
well,
know Brian.
works with them
Yep.
a lot. I asked him, I got one of those, like 9 3/4 inch freaking glides at the show.
And what Brian say?
Huh? Brian said the same thing, direct tie.
What the heck?
I mean, when I see it swimming in the water, it does exactly what I believe it's supposed to be doing. So, but that they're the only exception so far from the baits that I've personally used that they would say it is designed to be direct tie.
Interesting. Hey, what can I say? I can't say anything against it.
Different strokes for different
Yeah,
folks.
yeah, I suppose. I know my experience is definitely a snap or a tie. Yeah.
All right, I like it. But you know what? Awesome. Real quick, plug your social media for both you guys, your trails, and then we'll wrap this up.
Do you have a social media?
No, God, just
This is Derek Hansen. He's on Facebook. This is my dude. This guy is the biggest bait supporter I have. There's his plugs right there.
yeah, exactly.
As for me,
If you want, just friend me on Facebook, and you'll see some fish pictures and some my kid pictures. And yeah, my one shout out, thank you to my wife, because she puts up with a lot of crap from me,
Thank you,
and
Justine.
all the hours that I do this, and my cranky, tired ass coming home and not catching fish.
Same to my wife.
Love you.
Same to my Justine. You're great. You're great. And same to my wife, Shannon. She supports me almost more than any female I've ever seen support their fellow. You know, I can't thank her enough. She is phenomenal. As for my socials, you can find me on YouTube. I'm Mr. Tightlines. You look up Mr. Tightlines, you'll find me there. If you look on Facebook, I have MTL Baits as a bait page, but you can look me up personally. My name is Chris Ellis, Chris with a K, K-R-I-S, and I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram as Mr. Tightline. I'm on TikTok as Mr. Tightlines. Pretty much look up Mr. Tightlines, and I'm the only one. So I think that's about it.
Cool. Well, hey, appreciate you guys coming on, talking night fishing tactics with us. Chat went off really good. We appreciate you guys for being a part of the conversation, as always. And I don't know what the hell we're going to do next weekend, but that's not for me to say. That's Andrew's job. He's the one that wraps us up. So, sir, take it.
See you guys next week, like every week, every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern on the East Coast side of the country.
I love
And
you have
it's
his
like
map-
5
you
o'clock
have his
on
mic
West
mapped
Coast, too,
out.
so you can see it there. But we will see you guys next week. We love you. We will see you guys next week. We love you. We will see you guys next week.
Have a great night, everybody.
Keep those lines tight.